Hello and welcome out to Gamers Council. Wow. So we took a week off after our last show because of the Super Bowl, and
some shit went down.
Few things happened, and we are going to get into it, dive deep, and we have the absolute mega panel tonight to get into it and dive deep on it. So I'm WebDave. I'm your host, along with RHETRI, my co-host. RHETRI, how you doing, buddy?
Doing better now. I still feel like crap. Hung out with a bunch of friends last night. Every single one of us are sick today. So one of those mother effers gave me something.
All right. Well,
so
don't
yes,
make out with your friends.
Yeah. But yeah, we had some technical difficulties, but I've reset the equipment, so I'm not hearing echo anymore, which is nice. But yeah, so we took a week off, and the world of Twitter and the gaming community just split in half. We're going to talk about that a little bit tonight and the ridiculousness that's going on. But excited to be here, even though I don't feel great. But I'm going to try to. I got my tea. I got some halls over here, so we're
you are ready
to
push
go through. Yeah, I did. I'm not. Awesome. Yeah, no beer tonight. No beer tonight.
Not yet, anyway.
No.
All right, and just so everybody's clear, the reason we were a few minutes late was because we had to wait for Adidas to show up. So once Adidas was here, he said he's here. And we started the show. So there we go. So welcome out, everybody. And Mav, welcome, Mav. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I am doing fantastic, man. Chaos is over. The world is settling back down in video games, and we can just get back to playing games, which we all enjoy. Oh, wait, I can't because the server's at capacity. I can't play games. The server's at capacity. I'm trying to. But anyway, everybody, it's awesome to be here here with OBM too, who's an absolutely awesome person in the community. And I've been following him for a long time. So we've only gotten to podcast a few times together in the past. So when I saw that it was me and him together on you guys' show, it actually got me pretty happy. Good to be back with you, Dave, and RHETRI. As always, I'm glad you're kind of feeling better, RHETRI. But
I'll get there, man. Once we get into this stuff, like the sickness just usually fades away.
Yeah, that's good.
Happened before. Yeah, appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Yeah, yes, definitely. And then, of course, we were so happy to have one bad mother. OBM, what's up, buddy?
What is up, guys? Well, it's an awesome time, actually. I timed this out pretty well, right?
Yeah.
We got everybody scattered all over after the gaming meteor hit Xbox planet or whatever. So look forward to helping us find some of the some of the bodies, I guess. I don't know, but it's going to be a fun conversation, and I do want to echo ditto back to Mav. I've been following you for a bit, man, and a lot of times I'll just lurk while I'm working out or something like that. You guys are always really positive, and I think just really level-headed. And I think that's going to be interesting because I have friends of all different types of beliefs, and including kind of how they've approached some of this stuff. And I found myself a lot of times sort of on the minority opinion on a lot of this stuff that's come out, and
you are not alone. Right, that's so, as much as you're getting from me.
It's gonna be fun to talk to you guys about this stuff because every time I've been here, it feels like we have just good discussions, man. It doesn't we don't have to agree, but it's always really good discussion. So I'm looking forward to it. And you guys took the week off to watch the Super Bowl. I needed that week off so that I could, because I had 2 weeks of bereavement after the Lions blew it. So, but it was interesting to see the 49ers just turn around and give it right back. So,
man.
I don't care. That's not my Patriots. I didn't really care who won.
And Matt doesn't care. He wanted to see everybody burn after.
Yeah,
I kind of did too.
When the Cowboys lost, people were saying things like, "Well, it's okay. You can still watch the Eagles lose." I'm like, I don't care. Do I care about the Eagles now? The Cowboys are out. NFL is done for me that day when that happened.
I kind of hear you on that one.
Yeah.
But I hear you with the foam star slant. I see you making fun of my background over there, Richie. I see you.
I like it, especially that neon sign. That is so cool.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, don't make fun of that. Dave gave that to me.
That's right.
For being a good co-host.
Exactly.
Tolerable.
Exactly. Whatever. The best co-host. Guys, man, we're gonna have so much fun tonight. I do want a quick housekeeping. I want to get this out of the way. And we may have some other people jump on tonight. You never know. Some people sometimes like to lurk in the chat, but we'll see. We'll see, and we'll try and skirt them in if they decide they want to join us. But right now, I'm gonna drop this in because he dropped it a few days ago because he's super awesome. That I'm gonna put it up on the screen for us because I basically give me 1 second, RHETRI, for this to come through on StreamYards.
Sure thing, buddy.
Hopefully. Hello, come on, comment. Let's go. There it is. There we go. So if you don't mind reading that for me.
Sure. Adidas20 with the $10 says salute. Salute to you, sir.
Yeah, I put the
Thank you,
blade
buddy.
icon on there. So yeah. But yeah, thanks, buddy. We really appreciate that. That does mean a lot. So RHETRI, as I turn the floor over to you, what do you want to talk about first?
Well, we always start off every episode with what you guys been playing, like games and any movies and TV shows that have caught your interest. So we'll start with you, Mav, up in the left-hand corner, up in the left-hand square. What have you been playing or trying to play, it sounds like?
Yeah.
And any TV shows or movies that you've watched catching your interest lately?
Well, one of them's a topic that we're gonna have, I think. So,
Okay, fair
the
enough.
TV show Halo, been catching, playing that or watching that, and as far as games, I've been really hooked on Helldivers. I absolutely love it. I've been also.
Did you get it on Steam or did you get it on PlayStation?
Steam. Yeah,
That's the correct choice. All right, that's fine. I'm good. I'm just
Hey,
kidding.
well-
I don't care.
it was a decision because, like, the guys I'm all playing with, like, they're all got it on Steam too.
Yeah.
And I just didn't trust PlayStation to have the crossplay working properly, because they never do this.
Yep,
So I
good
went
thinking.
ahead and did the PC. But then, I have AMD, and they've had a lot of issues with AMD with this game. So there was a lot of
I've
crashes
heard.
and stuff like that. But overall, it's been great. It's fun as hell. I absolutely love the game. I was really looking forward to that game for a long time.
Yep,
And
same here.
saying things like, I hope that this game is successful on PC because it might teach PlayStation that to like a lesson, and also that not every game has to be a certain kind of mold. You can have these different experiences and all these kind of things. And I think they are learnings from Helldivers 2 and in the phenomenon that is coming right now, right? So I've been playing the hell out of that. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League.
Nice.
I've
How you liking that,
enjoyed-
Mav?
It's fantastic, dude.
Okay, you
Like-
I like
like-
almost everyone I know seems to like it, except for like Twitter in general. But all the people in our circle, I haven't heard a lot of negative.
Because people you've actually talked to that played the game.
Because you played it,
Right.
All right, exactly.
Well, because you're not playing it, probably, swearing about the fact that Rocksteady didn't just make another Batman. And I think that's probably the way a lot of people approached it initially.
Yeah. So when I first saw the game, like had the big gameplay reveal, right?
Yeah, the first one, yeah.
I was like that. I was like, oh, this is not what I wanted from Rocksteady. You know what I mean? But then later you kind of accept that it's not that. And
Right, yeah.
what kind of game did they make? And is it good or not? And I have never had faith. I've never had like no faith in Rocksteady. I've always had faith in their ability to make a fun game. Right. And like I saw the gameplay. The gameplay looked fun. I like looter shooters. Right. Games of service doesn't really bother me. I play a lot of multiplayer stuff. So it was just kind of play the game for what it is and judge it for that. And for what it is, it's absolutely awesome. And I've had a lot of fun with it. So I don't get some of the conversation out there because it's like this game has been tried to be destroyed from games media. It seems like it's kind of like that Starfield effect with all these articles and all this stuff and everything going on. Yet, when other games that are also live service and games of service that are out right now and have been don't have those same kind of articles written about them. And you're right, OBM, is because it's Rocksteady, right? And it's because it's not a traditional Batman game. And I just wish games were judged for what they are, not what people
want them to be
or have an expectation of or whatever. And because I even saw an article from IGN or a video where they said that they hope that this kills looter shooters.
What?
And
I did
yeah.
not see that one.
But it feels like that's how a lot of reviews are these days. They're trying to drive. It's almost like you get extra points if you're making the type of game that they wanted to begin with, right? Like you're making it in the genre they wanted, without, just basically staying in their lane, right? Whereas if you go outside of that, if you kind of like try something new or different, or a developer goes and, experiments a little bit, a lot of times I feel like they are trying to punish them so that they don't do that again and they get back into their lane. And I don't
that's
even
where the
think
agenda
healthy.
comes in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We saw that with Starfield and stuff like that. It's like it's not about what it is, it's about what we wanted this to be. What we had in our head, I want to fly around the planet like it's No Man's Sky. And since I can't do that, rather than like what is it doing well, and we're just seeing that over and over again. And some of these games I think will over time, it'll be interesting to see how time is to some of these games, because I think some of them will look back on and say, you know what, that wasn't so bad. Same thing with we've seen that in the historically games that come out and they're not exactly what people wanted. Like, what was the other one? Quantum Break was another example, right? It wasn't exactly
that's a good example.
Wanted. And now people are like, oh, you know what? Maybe that was cool, and maybe we should have a sequel.
I was just thinking Redfall in my head. I was like, yeah, Redfall was one of those too. Or Back 4 Blood was another one too. I know a lot of people were like, they thought it was going to be like a Left 4 Dead clone, and it really wasn't that. But But OBM, what have you been playing, man?
So I've been watching the Halo show as well. This year I'm not actually hate watching it, which is disappointing in a way.
Yeah, that's our first topic. We'll definitely talk about that.
But other than that, Infinite Wealth, I definitely want to get into Helldivers. I have been wanting a Starship Troopers video game.
Yeah.
For since Starship Troopers was a thing, and so I need to get that. I also need to let Totoki know that he's right. Needs to be day one in game or on Steam on PC every time, and got to support his cause, right? So that
line the pockets. Yeah, I like that you mentioned that, because that was my exact thought process. I was like, I'm not gonna buy this on PlayStation. I'm gonna purposely buy it on Steam to send the message that it's okay. It's okay, buddy. Like you're not gonna lose a ton of money if you do that. Clearly not. But any other games that you've been playing, man?
Infinite Wealth has pretty much been taking up most of my time. Although I did start to dabble a little bit with Final Fantasy VII Remake for the first time. I bought it on sale and I had never played it. And I thought, oh, let me give it a shot because the new one looks pretty good. And I haven't been in the Final Fantasy since the OG PlayStation days. But
me too. Yeah.
But for whatever reason, something they were showing kind of hit, and I was like, all right, let me give this another shot. So
nice.
So I'm playing Japanese RPGs, which is weird because I'm not the Yakuza.
Yeah, I was seeing a theme here.
Yakuza Like a Dragon was the first Japanese RPG that I played extensively since the original Final Fantasies on the PlayStation, way back in the day, and I loved that game. So I'll be beating this one too, but that's really the only one that I've completed since the beginning of the 3D era. So maybe that scratched an itch enough that I'll give some other ones a shot now.
Yeah. That's what's nice about going into different genres and touching things that you normally don't touch. Pause.
Speaking of that, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I've been hearing. Yeah, that is going around now. I hadn't even heard of it. I played their fighting game when I was on Game Pass, but I've been hearing a lot of good things about that game as well.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's another surprise success too. It's been doing numbers.
Oh, it has been doing numbers.
Well. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I didn't even know that. Oh, good to know. All right, that's good. I like to see more success stories for sure. All right, well, we'll hop right into it. Well, Dave, unless you want to say, I'm guessing you're playing Diablo. I'm just going to use my psychic powers. Either Power World and Diablo? Well,
I am playing Power World and Diablo. And oh, man, you guessed it.
Sorry.
No. That's exactly what I've been playing when I can, because I started my new job and it is.
Well, congrats on that,
So,
buddy.
Thanks,
Yeah.
man. Appreciate
Yeah.
that. Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it is awesome, but it is definitely not a work from home situation anymore. So, which is a good thing.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
Probably I've already lost like 5 pounds.
Hey, touching some grass, Dave. I get. Yeah, sometimes it's a good thing to do.
You about ready to give your 2 weeks notice?
Yeah. I'm not signing up for this shit. Come on, man.
In 7 years, when I can retire, Mav, how's that?
Yeah, there you go.
Because I'm old. Oh goodness.
That's
But-
funny.
And big quick shout out. We've got so many people in the chat. We almost 100 people in the chat right now. Thank you all so much for being here. We greatly appreciate it. And so many great names. Crispy Bombs here. We appreciate that. And of course, the one and only Dirt Griggity's here.
What's up, buddy?
Special Nick is here as well, lurking in the chat. Love having you guys here. This is so awesome. So yeah, and of course, you guys got questions. Just throw them up there, and we'll do our best to get into it. RHETRI, what about you, man?
For me, it's been Brotato, and I love that game. It's really good. And Resident Evil 3, I started playing that because I'm a big Resident Evil fan. I think 3 is a lot better than people give it credit for, personally. And Fortnite, I can't stay away. And I was by the way, I was playing with King David yesterday. Yeah, I think that was yesterday. Yeah, so yesterday, the day before, I don't remember. King David and those guys, and they pressure me into buying the Ninja Turtles thing. But it wasn't too hard because I was gonna buy it anyways. But yeah, he wants the match. So he's giving me shit. He's like, you got to buy it. So I had to pull out my credit card and spend money I didn't want to spend, but that's fine. But shout out to those guys. Shout out to Galveston and Rocket that were playing with us as well.
Definitely.
We always have fun. King's definitely better at that game than I am. He's definitely a leader on that one. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. So
Well, it's good you guys finally got to play, man, because I know you've been.
I was bugging him for
a
that was
while.
actually our second time. Yeah, so I'm breaking him down slowly. I'm trying to make sure he gets some wins because he's definitely a competitive guy. So
Really?
we'll do what we can. Yeah,
Why don't you stream one of those? Let's judge for ourselves.
I am gonna start streaming again. I swear to God.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I am gonna get back into that. But we got. I think we just got a super chat from J boy here, and another one from my boy. From my guy.
Here we go.
Jay Rambert with the $10 says, y'all see that there's a live stream right now for MK and COD, and both are using PlayStation controllers. If Microsoft is serious about competing, they need to fix that ASAP. Fix the marketing, damn it. Damn it. I did not know that. But I'm not surprised to see that, really, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But
Here we go.
all right, Adidas with the $5 says, now that Y2K, Xbox December 31st, 1999 has come and gone. World did not shut down, and neither did Xbox. Yes, absolutely, Adidas. Bring it back to reality.
Talk that shit.
Things are okay. Things are okay. We'll talk about that too. For sure. We'll get into that shortly. Scott with the $5 says, I am so excited about Xbox might make a handheld. Amen to that. I also think that a person should make their own judgment on games. Yeah, fair enough. 100%, man. All about that handheld. As soon as I heard those rumors,
Me
which
too.
is funny. These podcast guys, they're so bad at keeping secrets. They're like even in the green room, they're like, there could be a handheld. I'm like, okay, hey, thanks guys, thanks for Now I know.
They definitely have not fixed the leaky ship. I think that's one thing we learned.
Dude, there is so many. Look, I know, we're gonna talk about that shit tonight, leaks, and then false leaks, bad information that came out about games that were going to end up on PlayStation and other platforms. But I think there is something to it. I think maybe it might be a little bit harsh on some of these guys. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. Right now, I want to move on to talking about our first topic. It's going to be a quick one because we didn't get to talk about this last week because we weren't here. And that's the Halo show. Luckily, everyone here has at least our guests. I don't know if you've watched it, Dave, but I've watched at least a few episodes. I imagine.
I have not watched the new season at all.
Okay,
I'm waiting for it all to be down, and then.
Oh, you're one of those guys. All right, I see you. You're gonna be a binger. Yeah, I don't blame you. But yeah, I just wanted to get everyone's like kind of overall encompassing thoughts. If you were a season 1 guy, did you like season 1? And what do you think? I already know OBM's answer, and I'm with you, brother. But we'll start with you, Mav. Like, what was your kind of take on season 1? And are you liking season 2, or compare and contrast one from the other? What's your thoughts on the latest of the Halo show?
I'm kind of an easy critic, you know what I mean? So I just got to be honest. Like, people say I'm too positive about games all the time and stuff like that. But,
Yeah. I get that too, though.
Movies, I'm the same way. Like, I want to be able to sit down and enjoy something, and I'm not going to be overly critical, right? Season 1, I actually really enjoyed because I was accepting it for what it was. Like, again, it wasn't canon and all that kind of stuff. I knew that going into it. I was just kind of keeping an open mind, right? There was some things that were a little like, you got the whole cheek scenario, and then
Master Cheeks, showing his buns,
Master Chief getting jiggy with it, and all that kind of stuff. It's just like interesting to see on a show, right? But there was a lot of things I loved about season 1. I liked the Spartan team, I liked the Silver team, I liked where they were going with that when they had the combat and all that kind of stuff, and they showed the Covenant. I was really into all of that kind of stuff, right? So the season so far, what I like about season 2 it's like the best parts of season 1 is like most of season 2 so far, right? Like,
I agree with that.
They've leaned into what was the best stuff about it and have kind of expanded upon that, because like when season 2 started out, like the first like 15 minutes, it's like, holy hell, is this what this whole season's going to be like? Because I'm in freaking heaven right now if that's what it's like. And then you got the other stuff. They go, oh, here's Quan Ha again, right? And Soren.
I'm so glad you said that. I'm not the only one. Okay.
We're back to that storyline.
Yeah. But do it quickly. Show her and then get her off the screen as fast as you possibly can.
Yeah, it's got to go somewhere eventually. There has to be a reason for it to exist.
That reminds me of one of those side missions in like an open
like a
world
Ubisoft game.
Where it's like, oh, go find my wooden leg or something like that. That has nothing to do with the end of the world story.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping at the end of the rainbow, there's a very good reason for them to have spent so much time with the character and that whole storyline, right?
Well, I think that Master Chief already found his wood, if you know what I mean.
Oh shit!
One.
Oh, what? Dave, you had to go there.
Sorry, man.
That's fine.
We know what Dave liked about season 1.
He liked the Master Chief scene.
That
was his favorite part.
Yeah, he knows what minute mark it was. He has it on. You can rewind it,
clip it. Yeah.
The shower scene. He remembers that. But really, like, this is starting to catch up with some big moments in the Halo lore. Like, and obviously it's not 1-to-1 canon, but like it is following along that same path where we know big stuff's happening. And it is at the end of every episode right now, it is just getting me like crazy excited for the next one.
Nice.
And right now, like, because I think there's been 3, right? So
3.
Yeah, I've watched all 3, and I can't wait for this next one because I know,
cliffhanger.
I know it's going to be bananas. Absolutely insane.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
I love it,
it's good to get, because I think me and OBM. Well, actually, I think you and Dave are on one side. Me and OBM. It's just weird that we're all in the because season 1 for me wasn't hitting. But I'll go to you, OBM. Season 1 for you, what was it like versus season 2? Are you enjoying the show right now?
So remember how I said like games should be reviewed for like what they are? Now
So you're a liar. So you're a liar. So you're full of shit.
I'm a complete hypocrite when it comes to TV shows. In fact, I remember Game of Thrones is like my favorite show of all time up until season 4, the end of it, when Lady Stoneheart doesn't come back.
Oh, dude! OBM, speak my language, dude.
She didn't
it's
come
Lady
back
Stoneheart.
to life. I was like, this whole show is ruined.
It's shit.
It's garbage. Like, what the hell? Like,
good call out with the Lady Stoneheart. Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately, Halo didn't waste any time. Halo season 1 was just like from the beginning. It didn't feel like Halo, and This season, I'm trying to go in and be like, I'll just take it for more of what it is. I think season 1 had other issues besides not just being Halo. It also had,
I think it was the writing. I thought the writing was doo-doo.
The writing was maybe a step above the Super Mario movie and Street Fighter. Maybe, like it was probably in that category.
Jesus.
Like some of the way you had to suspend logic. That's the one thing that I'm opposite of you when it comes to watching TV shows and movies. Like
You're gonna be critical, yeah.
If your logic doesn't like line up, or I go, wait, this doesn't make sense based on what you did there, it takes me out of it totally. And I think the writers just couldn't stay consistent for a second in season 1. And I hate I watched that, but mostly out of hate and spite. The second half of the 5th episode was pretty cool, and they had to fight. And the needler kill, right? The needler kill was better than the rest of the show season 1 together. This season, I am trying to come in with more of an open mind. It is better. The writing is better, and I think I'm more like, this is fine. It has some cool moments, and the aside from like the pointless side missions that they keep doing, it's been watchable. Like it's been interesting at least. So that's where I'm at right now. I'd say I'm at least interested in seeing what's going to happen next, especially how they set up season 4 or episode 4. But I'm not like amazed. I'm not as blown away as some people are, but it is definitely. It's not the train wreck that season 1 was. sorry, everybody. That I know I have a lot of friends that are like, I am old man yelling at the cloud. I will admit, Halo CE is still my favorite game of all time. I am that guy.
You're that guy. Get off my lawn. I guess I'm also that guy because I did not like season 1, and it's not. I fought people on this. I wasn't against him taking off his helmet. It is not about being different and doing something out of lore. Yeah. None of that shit bothers me at all. You got to do what you got to do for television. I like seeing the emotion of the characters, which is another reason that season 2 is really hitting for me. But yeah, season 1 for me, I thought the writing was caca. But I still watched it. I hate watched it too because it's Halo and I couldn't help myself. But man, I'll tell you, for me, I do feel like there's a good comeback here. I know they have a new showrunner. I know there's new writers. I know there's new people behind the scenes. And to me, it's clearly making a difference because I think someone in the chat said it's like sitting at a 90 on Rotten Tomatoes right now. And I know people, Rotten Tomatoes, whatever, but the other one was nowhere near 90. I don't believe season 1. So I think a lot of people are at least enjoying season 2, or kind of like you, OBM. It's at least watchable for them. And Whoop Whoop Kid, that is the correct answer. Kai is his favorite character. She's the best. In my opinion, she's my favorite.
Really good addition. I think Keys does a really, really good job too. Some of the casting is actually really good. Like that was the one thing I think they did a good job of. I think
the casting's great. That's why I knew it wasn't them. That's why I knew it was the writing. Halsey's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Halsey's awesome.
Well, I like Silver Team is like this season, especially too. Like they've done a really good job building the characters for sure.
Yep.
So they've done a good job with the casting for sure, and I think I do also need to give the writers some credit because I thought after last season ended, I'm like, there's nothing that can salvage this. Like I said, just throw this in the dumpster, set it on fire. Like there's no way you can come back from this. And the fact that they've sort of like soft rebooted it without like completely, like they didn't just like say that it was all a dream sequence. That stuff still happened, but they're still figuring out a way to claw their way back into something that makes sense. Yeah, so I give the writers credit because they were not handed a good hand, and they're doing a decent job with the hand they were dealt for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Alvin says Quan Ha is a better character than Soren. No. Because nobody's worse than Quan Ha. But I hear you. It's fine. We all got our different opinions. That's cool.
There's another one there too.
Yeah. Rachie says, when I watched the first 3 episodes of season 1, I became the prophet of regret. Good line. Good line.
Can anybody unsee Kay Asante as Keys?
No, never.
No.
Dude, he's absolute twinsy. Like
it's him. He's there.
It is him.
It is
incarnate, dude. Absolutely. Yeah.
I was looking for Everborn Saga whenever he is on. I'm wondering. You know, like when is he gonna make his appearance?
Right.
With
Like as an extra in the back.
Yeah.
With like a Sega, Easter egg or something in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a new member.
Scott, welcome, brother. New member. So appreciate that, man. Always appreciate it. We get new members on the channel, as always. By the
Definitely.
way, guys, if you don't know, we reduced the price a while ago. It is now, I think, $1, right, Dave? To
$1.
$1
$1
to
wonderful
become
emojis.
Yeah. So absolutely. Don't mind me, guys, if I keep sipping my tea. I'm trying. My throat's like killing and shit. So I'm trying to not get worse here. But
He's dedicated and hardcore to tonight's show.
Yeah.
That's the dedication I like to see in you.
yeah.
Also, and also, I got to say, I felt like that OBM was holding back on his opinions a lot on this about this.
yeah.
Yeah. I can tell.
I'm just kidding. Fighting through it. I'm just kidding.
I don't have a good
That's
poker
awesome.
face, so I don't even try.
Yeah.
I don't even try.
It's all good. Well, that's what we want here, man. We want everybody to have fun and great discussion, and that's what I said.
100%.
This is an awesome panel tonight, and I have a feeling that RHETRI, it might just get a little salty and a little crazy, and let's have some fun.
Yeah. All right. We can get into the next topic, which is the official Xbox podcast, their business talk, and everything that went down with Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and Peaches, Matt Boutte. I kind of feel like this is one of those things where the world of Twitter and journalism set us up to be like, oh shit, the earth is cracked in half, like it's all going to hell. What's happening? And then we find out it's only 4 games, and those games are, I mean, I think we can kind of guess what they probably are. I think, what was it? I think we think Sea of Thieves, maybe Grounded for the live service games. Maybe, I think people are saying Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush might be. We don't even know because Phil didn't tell us, which is probably the only thing that really bothered me during this. I was kind of like, damn. More of like, it's kind of like a PR thing. I was like, well, that's going to be a topic. People are going to be pissed off that you didn't tell them what those 4 games are. Here we go. But honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal for me personally. But I think what we can do, Dave, I sent you a ton of clips.
Yep.
So
I wish we
sorry
had
about
numbered
that.
them. Is the only thing I wish.
I can actually tell you. I know I should have numbered them. My bad.
It's
buddy.
okay. No.
I can tell you which
one
one to play first because I have them in order on my desktop. But
Awesome.
we'll start with Phil. It's called Phil 4 Games to PS.
Yep. Give me
Yeah.
a second, but you go ahead, keep talking. I'll pull it up.
All right. Yeah. So I was done talking, but we're good. I'll just doing things with my hands. So yeah, I don't know. I was just for me, I was disappointed to not hear what those 4 games were, but I also understand they want to make maybe a little bit of a spectacle of those games that are releasing on PlayStation / Nintendo ? Question mark. Still,
You
not
gotta
100%
imagine like that maybe the Nintendo Direct, potentially there could be a game there or something. Like if they have plans for the marketing and have already been working with some of those people, they're not going to sit here at their podcast thing and because the community freaked out be like, screw all of our partners, screw all the developers' plans and everything like that.
All the plans go to
we
shit.
just got to make sure your Twitter is satisfied
we got to
now.
cut. Are you okay? Are you okay, Xbox?
I think he did everything he could do without saying specifically what the games were by saying what kinds of games they are and what the criteria was, right? So he answered the question without really answering the question.
That's why he's the master of PR. I'm not one of these. I'm not like Fire Phil. I'm not one of those guys. I think that's. I saw that on Twitter again. I was like, you got to be shitting me. This guy literally saved Xbox, and we're going after his throat for some games going over because they want to make more money. They're a corporation. They're gonna want to make more money. But let's play this one, Dave, and we'll kind of go through the line of the different and kind of like we'll play a clip and we'll go through our thoughts. So it's gonna be a lot of clips, guys. So buckle up. Go for it, Dave. I'm not hearing audio.
Yeah, no audio.
I can't hear it either.
I figured out what that problem is, and I will fix it now. Dun, dun, dun. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine, man. It happens.
Like
I've done that a million times.
Just kidding. Let's see.
What's going on, chat? We got how many people we got? We got about 150 here live with us tonight. Thank you guys for coming out as always. Membership's $1. I know I already said that. We'll whore ourselves out tonight. It's fine. Yeah.
$4.
Join us if you
goodness.
can.
It's dollar hot dog night here. Gamers Council podcast.
I'll buy that for $1.
Lord have mercy. Fill 4 games. There we go. Let's see if this works.
To the other consoles.
Yep, you
Just 4 games. Not a change to our kind of fundamental exclusive strategy. We're making these decisions for some specific reasons. We make every decision really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind. And long-term health of Xbox means a growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators, reaching as many players as we can. We're always looking to learn as a leadership team and to grow. And we think this is an interesting point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So we're going to do that.
So these 4 titles, what are they? Can you say?
I'm not going to name those games. The teams that are building those games have announced plans that are not too far away. As we know, game teams put a lot of energy into their announcements with the partners. So I don't want to take anything away from those teams. So I won't be talking about the titles specifically, but I think when they come out, it'll make sense.
Can we say if either of those titles are Starfield or Indiana Jones?
They are not Starfield or Indiana Jones. We made the decision that we're going
Oh, man. I'm so sorry, Reforge. I'm sorry, was that it now? Hey, Reforge.
All right, I think what we'll do is kind of like play the clip, give everyone our thoughts, so we can kind of really deep dive into this. So this is going to be a deep dive, guys. We might not get to all the topics tonight because I really want to kind of hammer this home. But I'll start with you, Mav, at the top. What are your thoughts about the clip that we just saw and everything that Philly Boy just told us?
First off, I was actually surprised that they specifically addressed what the games weren't, right? Because that was my initial thought in my head. Is like, oh, they're actually going there. You know what I mean? Because when they said oh, we're not going to say what the 4 games are, like corporate PR stuff, usually they don't go too much into that kind of stuff, right? But this was specifically for the community to say, guys, chill the hell out, right? There's some fake news out there, whether this is not these aren't specifically happening right now. Now later on they go into saying, other things like keeping an open mind about things in the future and all that kind of stuff. They're going to learn from this, right? And I'm sure we'll play that clip too. But as far as these, they were kind of specific about what kind of games they are. They said there's specific reasons why they were there. And for me, I was always looking at this as a perspective. I didn't really care regardless, no matter, because I just, as a consumer, it doesn't affect me personally, right? There's other things later in this that would have affected me way more as a consumer that I would have had problems with if they didn't address here as well. So that stuff was way more important to me than these games going somewhere else or not. And that was the thing. I was just baffled about the community in general, that people jumping off of the ledges because of rumors, right? But it was interesting to hear specifically it is not Indiana Jones, because I remember after that reveal, everybody, that was a big topic.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
This
100%.
is the first time they've actually addressed that that's an exclusive, right? That's kind of,
outside of what we saw from the FTC where it wasn't and then it was,
right?
You know what I mean? Outside of what they didn't want to tell us,
but after the reveal, remember at the direct, there was they didn't have all the language and stuff that they would normally have and stuff, right? So as far as them actually talking to the community, this was really kind of the first time that they've kind of addressed that, right? So that was interesting. I remember how many people were asking, is it coming to PlayStation, all this stuff, all those videos right after Indiana Jones was announced, right? No more. You don't get to do that for a while, right? You can say maybe in the future, but right now we know where it's launching first, right? Then also was Starfield, because Starfield was the one that to me set the community on fire.
Oh yeah.
Once that once the Xbox era report came down and that went and spread around throughout the community, right? And then I think it was Nate the Hate, who was originally one of the first ones to break any
Nate,
of
it was
this,
Nate first,
went and he also doubled down on that, right? And then you start seeing a bunch of backtracking and stuff going on. Then you see Nate the Hate actually pull back, and he was like, I did some more checking, and I've done extra diligence
checking
here, and I am retracting the fact that Starfield is coming to other platforms, and it's I'll take the L. Once I saw that, you look at these insiders and what the motivations would be, engagement, and all these other kind of things, right? Obviously, for being in content creation, you would think there's no motivation for somebody to go out there and take an L like that publicly when everybody else is against the grain.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like, okay, there's something here. The Starfield is probably not legit, right? But then you had Xbox era double down on it, right? Again, kind of saying they stand behind their sources and stuff. So it's like, okay, well. So then we see this, and Phil's clearly like, this is not Starfield, but also kind of the other language about the games that we're kind of looking at and all this kind of stuff. And I just honestly believe maybe is a consideration at some point or whatever, and they're kind of having meetings and all this kind of stuff. But I don't think it was ever on the table for like, this is actually happening like this year or anything like that. And I think do you think, Mav, that they looked at it at all, though? Do you think it was like, do you think they had like their whole gamut of games and they were just like, maybe they looked at it and they just decided not to? You know what I mean? Or do you think they didn't even, in your opinion, do you think they didn't even look at Starfield and was just looking at other games in general? The sad thing is we will never 100% know the answer to that question, but I would say it wouldn't surprise me if they were considering it, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously, like if you're this
company,
$3 trillion corporation and all these other things, companies consider shit all the time. And
right.
That's what something I've been saying. Like, and when a lot of these rumors started coming out, it was like considering.
Right.
But the emotional word is not considering. The emotional word is what the game is, right?
Yeah.
Gears of War, Starfield, Indiana Jones. It's like, whoa, what is all of that? No, I didn't watch you yesterday, Nick. Sorry.
No.
But anyway.
I did.
Sorry, Nick. Dave can correct us if whatever is happening. I didn't watch either.
I'll throw my 2 cents here in a second. Go ahead.
Yeah. So out of all of those, like those were the emotional things. The considerations were kind of overlooked by me in the community because it's like, how could they even consider this? You know what I mean? Like you're just ruining Xbox. And for me, it's always just like, let's see what they actually have to say, right? And when they actually said what they had to say, I'm like, okay, that's fine, it's cool, whatever. Right. And I feel like if this was always the beginning part, there would have been some people upset, but like it wouldn't have gotten to what it did, But, so anyway.
Fair enough. OBM, you want to put in, or I don't know, Dave, did you want to interject?
I just want the one thing I'll say, because Special Nick is in our chat.
Yeah.
And he is awesome and a very credible member of the community. I want to say that to everybody up front. And you know what? Them doubling down and standing by it, it's like 1000% agree because they get a lot of information. Nick does.
Yeah, he was first to break the when the direct was, right?
Yeah, exactly. So and sometimes in business, as things develop and grow, things change.
Nope, don't want to hear that, Dave. Don't want to hear that.
It's beyond, it's beyond his control.
I know. I agree.
And at some point, something like that is on the board. Put it this way: I'm not going to give Nick any hate for what he said when he did because he's been right more than he's been wrong.
Oh, John wrote it up, right? It was John.
Exactly. But
it's
point
John's
is,
fault.
So that's who we're going to blame.
Damn it, John.
No. But I just kind of want to throw that for the simple fact that it's like, even Jez Corden and other people, they had a lot of opinions about things.
Jez got a lot of crap. He didn't even say anything. He just said that games are coming. He didn't say anything specific, and he still got shit. I was like, damn, y'all going after Jez too?
Yeah. Okay. And you know what? Maybe someday it may be, but for right now, it's not coming.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like the context of the situation that people don't mention. Yeah, I know that John doesn't usually run with things like I don't.
Dude, I think
realize-
John said he couldn't even sleep, dude. Like he lost. Could not have been an
Yeah.
easy thing to hit publish on. I have no doubt that
No,
he
and
was wrestling with that.
And I will also just I can't say too much about it, but I know there's a few people that haven't said anything publicly that also are very credible out there that off the record have said that was definitely a conversation. So I think the context of the situation is like, regardless of whether Starfield is or is not on the docket, it's still in discussion. They were never going to start. I don't think that they were going to lead with that. In my opinion, it always made sense that if you're going to boil the frog, you don't throw them into boiling water, right? You throw them into warm water, you warm it up slowly. And
Sure.
These games kind of make sense from that standpoint. Now, it doesn't mean that Starfield will come out, will get ported, but I do think that the question of whether it's going to get ported wasn't necessarily supposed to be answered with this particular podcast. I think this podcast was to kind of set the table for the fact that there is things that are going to get ported. Now, on that note, like to get away from just the rumors and who's right and who's wrong and all this other stuff, just kind of taking Phil at face value, what he was talking about there. One of the things he said there really kind of made me think about one of the slides that leaked from the ABK trials. There was a slide that basically showed the value of exclusives. And you had, on one side, you had the Call of Duties, these massive games that we can't go exclusive to these because they make too much money. On one other side, you had these little niche creative games. They mentioned Psychonauts 2 in that category. They mentioned Fallout 76, which was a game that kind of lived, it's basically kind of just hanging by a thread there in terms of whether it should get support or not. And we saw from the leaks, basically they threw that on PlayStation Plus to justify continuing to make content for that. And then in the middle they had Starfield, and then ironically Redfall was in the middle there. Is these are the games that make sense for us as exclusives because these actually are the ones that build the brand, help bring people to Game Pass, the platform, whatever. So looking at it there, when you kind of think about when he's talking about this is good for the health of the brand, I believe, and this is just my opinions, trying to put things together. I believe that Phil does believe that having these the Double Fines, the Tangos, the Arcanes, when they're making things that are not licensed games, there is a value to have those in your ecosystem, especially with Game Pass. But the challenge that they have is when they release these games, they don't do anything to move the needle, right, for the platform, for Game Pass. So when in a business, a big corporation, you're either looking at everything from a standpoint is this providing a strategic advantage for us, or
right.
is it a financial benefit to us? And these little niche games don't provide either today. And I think that what he literally is trying to do is figure out a way to he knows that this stuff is going to be important for Game Pass big picture, just the overall the quality of that whole entire platform. And so I think he's looking to try to protect some of these types of games, continue to have Sea of Thieves, continue to get support because it still is a cool thing people talk about. It's not making a lot of money anymore. And so I think by doing what they're doing today, he's setting these studios up. I think he's hoping to set these studios up to continue to be who they are down the road beyond the Phil Spencer era of Xbox, which who knows how long that is. I mean, who knows if it's even fully the Phil Spencer era of Xbox today. That might even be a challenge. That might be a tug of war within the company now that they spent $69 billion. And now that you got Amy Hood going, well, I'm disappointed with. This is the first time she's ever come out and said, I'm actually disappointed with sales this time. That's never happened in the past. And so you saw they cut 1,900 jobs. They cut the Project Odyssey from Blizzard.
That one hurt.
There is a timeline where studios like Double Fine and Tango could become Call of Duty support studios. Let's just be honest. When you move under the big machine that is Microsoft, and they did this in the past, they did this with the Xbox 360 generation when they went from we're trying to become cool and let's just throw everything at the wall. Let's not worry about whether everything's making money. We want to try to be innovative and cool and make people know that we're different. We're taking chances. And then one day they went under the Windows division and they're like, okay, we've matured. And MechAssault doesn't make that much money, so let's cut VASA, who made MechAssault. And like VASA never made a bad game for them. They made MechAssault, they made Crimson Skies. They made a Shadowrun game that was good. They got screwed up because Windows interfered with it. But like, that future could exist. And I think what they're trying to do right now is just make sure that all these studios can continue to make games with some creative autonomy and all that other stuff, and find a better financial model for them potentially. And if they fail, there's a chance that these go to PlayStation. They don't sell a lick over there, and it's probably more likely, right, than it is the other side of that. And there's a chance that some of these things they stop doing as many of these creative niche things down the road, which would be a sad thing because I know they could always go out to the sector to get more of these games. But what's neat was when they do it internally, they have an opportunity to take those successes and build up on them, right? And when it's a third party, you don't really get as much of that opportunity. So that's the one thing that I picked out from it. And the other one was just like some of it when you kind of compare it to the rumors, it's like that analogy where that your daughter comes back from spring break and says she's got a dragon tattoo on her back, and then after you freak out, she goes, I'm just kidding. I got a belly button ring, and you're like, all right, that's fine.
Right. That's kind of what it felt like for me too, and I think a lot of people like it sounded like gloom. Everything was doomy, and then it was like, oh, it's just this. That's okay.
Yeah. So the belly button ring turned out. The belly button ring would have been a big deal if they would have led with it, but because we got the dragon tattoo first, and that never happened. The belly button ring is now people are like, okay, Hi-Fi Rush is fine.
Right?
Oh,
yeah.
Hey, RHETRI, stand up and show them your tramp stamp. Anyway.
Oh, you.
Just kidding.
All right, this guy, Silent Cypher, welcome, brother. He is re-upping for 8 months. Appreciate you, man. I'm gonna have to play some games soon again. Adidas 20 with the $5 says, what stood out to me the most, they are games that are over a year old and they reach their limits on Xbox and PC. People not playing those games anymore. Like outside of the gas games, I agree with that. I mean, obviously, Sea of Thieves is super popular, and I think Grounded's still doing very well.
I think the biggest thing too he said like about this was that when he's describing the games that he's doing, like they're doing, right? That the two of them were the smaller games that weren't meant to really be like moving the needle or those big draws to the ecosystem, right? Yep. The other games are like the Starfields, the Indiana Jones,
right? That moves the needle. Your Fables, that moves the needle. Yeah,
those are the ones that are the big marketable type games, and I feel like because like of that statement, like he understands that's still value there to like for the ecosystem
to the brand and the ecosystem,
as exclusives. So. But whether that could eventually change too, like we'll see at some point. They may test the waters, and I think, like they alluded to, also like later down the line, years and years later, it's going to be a more natural progression for all of these platforms, and then we'll kind of see that erode. But it's not like this doomsday scenario that the community was kind of making everything out to be, right? Driven by rumors and speculation.
Yeah.
Not fun speculation.
Not fun speculation. Not so fun speculation.
Unfun speculation.
Unfun speculation.
Shitty speculation. Bullshit.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I think maybe some people thought I was gonna come at Xbox era tonight, or I was gonna come at
Go for it. OBM's
Verge.
Here. He's on the channel. Screw him.
F you guys.
That's probably why Nick's in the chat right now. He's like,
I like to give Nick a hard time anytime.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Nick said this, I'd give him a hard time. But it was John. He's a nice guy. So
I've had my rants on our channel. Like
give Nick a hard time, anyways. He likes it.
Immediately
after, how you tell an Australian you like him is you
gotta yell at him.
Fuck off.
Yeah. That's true. I do love that.
Immediately
I
after
like
when
it.
we saw that whole thing wrap up, I was like, what the hell was all that about, you bunch of you idiots out there spreading all this bullshit for nothing, you know? And it was like, but that's kind of how a lot of people felt in the moment. It's like, why was there this much chaos and doom and gloom and 7.5 hour spaces and people claiming that Xbox was dead and all of these things, you know? And it was just like, what? Why? And none of it made any sense. Now, I don't. Again, people got to think for themselves, right?
Right,
And,
yeah.
and have some common sense here as well, and kind of just not jump off the ledge so easily at times. You know what I mean? In any direction, you know.
Yeah.
I do think there's people out there in notable or maybe even formerly notable positions that are poisoning the well a little bit, but I'll just leave it at that. So
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't want to disregard anyone. Like, if you're being genuine and you're going off the edge or ledge or whatever, you feel the way you feel, and that's fine. But I'm not gonna ride with you. I'm ride or die Xbox. And you know, Game Pass is still alive. We'll play some other clips from this as well. That's what had me worried for a second. Some of the BS rumors that we heard. I know. See, Matt, when we were talking about that earlier, I knew exactly where you were going, because that's what I was thinking.
People lost their
That's all I
minds.
care about.
I know.
People were advocating for it. People were trying to say the Xbox should do this instead of giving away some of our games. Like,
I was losing my mind on that.
I
too. It's
didn't.
like,
I'm right there with you, Mav. I saw a lot. I saw a lot of these polls, and they were almost 50-50. I saw the Iron Lords do it. I saw some other like prominent podcasts and Twitter guys do it. And I'm like, they're like, would you rather have exclusives or just like say F Game Pass? And half of them were like, keep all the exclusives, F Game Pass. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, no.
like, what affects you as an individual more?
Exactly,
you know?
Mav.
Like,
What affects your bottom line? What affects your fucking dollar? Game Pass. Can you do arithmetic, stupid? Come on, man. No. Let them have some games. I want to keep being the cheap guy that I am. I don't want my Game Pass to go away. But we'll talk about that a little bit later too. We have some other clips and stuff.
I'll save my dissertation.
Yeah, save that. Yeah, we are gonna kind of piecemeal this. So I know sometimes we jump around. We can't help it because you gotta say what you gotta say. But the Grumpy Shaman just became a YouTube member, so welcome, sir. Appreciate you, man.
And welcome out to the over 220 people in the chat. Welcome, guys.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. If you want to play the next one, this is more Phil talk. It's Phil, less exclusives over time.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah. I think they might be in the order that I sent you in the.
Well, when they downloaded, they repopulated.
Did they go in a different order? Damn,
alphabetical.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Next time I'll
Alphabetical, yeah,
put them.
sorry. So what was the title again? It was Phil what?
Phil, less exclusives over
Got it.
time. Thanks, love. Got my wife making me some more tea.
I thought you were talking to Dave.
Thanks, love. Yeah, I was.
Exclusive games that are exclusive
Uh-oh. So is it slowing down for you
to
guys?
one piece
Yeah,
of
yeah.
hardware are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at the last 10 years,
Maybe kill it, Dave, and bring it back. This is what happens to me all the time, too, in StreamYard when I do these videos. Chokes.
All right. Frickin' reckon. Sorry, what?
This is why I did it in small pieces, too, because I was hoping it wasn't going to give us the middle finger. You know what I mean? That's why there's so many damn clips.
Right now, we're pretending we're the Helldiver servers.
Oh, and what was the first word after Phil?
It was less exclusives over
Got it.
time.
Okay.
I see, so real quick, I see Slow Mo saying people's choice to choose exclusives over Game Pass day and date had less to do with arithmetic and more to do with the long-term health of the brand, based on assumptions that people made up in their brain over it had to be a one or the other scenario that never existed in the first place, right? People were jumping
you
to
have a
these
fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years,
sorry. people were
You're
jumping
good.
to these like conclusions about Xbox is bankrupt. I saw terms like that. Game Pass isn't sustainable. Game Pass is failing. They can't afford to put ABK games in there anyway. All these other kind of things about like, well, like what's better if we just get rid of Game Pass exclusive or day and date, or we give other platforms the exclusives? Like, it had to be a choice, and like it never had to be a choice. That was just this weird hypothetical. But in doing so, you're putting the idea in their head by putting these polls out there and letting them see that 60% of us are okay with games not being in Game Pass day one. It's like, I don't want them to see that. I want them to think that we're
I
all going to
agree.
abandon ship if it's the opposite, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take like I see Slow-Mo's point, and that is a point I saw repeated a lot on Twitter and by other people. I can see. We heard erosion of brand multiple times, but I think it's ignoring the writing that's on the wall. I think it's ignoring the future and pretending like it doesn't exist. I think it's ignoring the direction that everybody, including PlayStation, which we'll talk about later, is going in. I think we talked about this, Dave. We talked about this multiple times. I personally think that Xbox is trying to be Tencent, and it makes more sense because hardware ain't where it's at. It's software. So
I want to try something to see if this works.
Well,
Yeah,
and,
go for
and subscription. But let's
it's subscription. Absolutely.
I'm gonna remove myself. I can still see. I'm still control everything.
Yeah.
To see if that
See if it
makes
helps.
not stutter. Yeah. Let me see this.
All right, we can try it.
Fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years, exclusive games that are exclusive to one piece of
One piece of hardware would become less and less in the
are
industry.
going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry.
I can help Phil expand on that.
That's not some great insight because if you look at the last
You want to
10
play?
years,
You pretend to be Phil.
Damn it! I'm sorry, guys.
I think we all know what he said, right? It's
Yeah.
pretty much like it's
Yeah.
it's going to become smaller part of the industry over time, and as such, we saw the comments from PlayStation the other day in their call that they see that too, So
Well, and it's one of the interesting things because so I understand what Slow-Mo was saying. Me and Slow-Mo and some others have had conversations about this, and I agree with Slow-Mo on a lot of things. But this is the one thing. What it was actually interesting, Slow-Mo, was actually there is a graph that you showed a long time ago, a few years back, that was showing that sticks in my mind that actually helps me have this conversation with you now. But it was one that was showing like the trends where people were expecting where the analysts are expecting the industry to go and how much is going to be made up of console, PC, mobile, and when you looked at how everything was trending, PC is still supposed to keep growing. Console's barely going to keep pace with inflation over, if we start looking over by the like end of this decade, it's actually going to be shrinking relative to inflation and everything like that. And I think that a lot of what he is saying there is regarding sort of like where the trends are, where the opportunities exist. And I understand, like, for the people in the Xbox community that are really hardcore say, no, I'd rather have the exclusives. The ones that are not console war, and I don't want to say like they're not 100% of them are all saying that because they want to just win this fake console war that doesn't really exist anymore. I think a lot of people say that because they're afraid that all the digital games they've invested in will go away or not be supported.
Yeah, digital library. Yeah, a lot of people are scared about that. Understandably.
Or the other part is it's like, hey, I really love this ecosystem. This is where I like to be. I like the controller. I got my friends here. I want when third parties come out with games, I want them to still come here. And that's what they're afraid of. That's why they think they need these sales. Things are changing, and that is no longer even the health of your digital library and the third-party support are no longer connected to console sales, even within the console. And I think that's a thing that's hard for people to get their heads around. There is evidence of this besides. So, like, if you look at another thing I'd point to that leaked from the ABK trials, like they basically said, hey, by 2030 we were aiming for 100 million Game Pass subs, for example. Now we know they're behind that, right? So let's just say it's like they're still on track for 80 million or whatever it is they're hoping to hit. But even going back to like what their projections were, if they project zero growth in console, but they're saying they're going to hit 100 million, where is the rest of that coming from? Like, right? We know there's only like 25 million or so that are like not core that are on their
Ultimate.
console. Yeah, that are on Ultimate today. So obviously, they believe they're going to be growing their ecosystem through PC, through cloud, through other
Mobile.
through your TV.
Like definitely mobile.
Mobile, handhelds, whatever. All these other types of devices. So, and what I believed, and I believe this for a while, that they're eventually going to merge the PC and the console and the cloud, and they've hinted at it for a while. Phil Spencer, even when he interviewed Jez, did the interview with Jez back in December, talked about streaming your entire ecosystem, your Xbox everywhere, right? And there was a leak on that now today.
Yeah,
somebody talked to him about it, and I do believe that is the vision. And so whether they get third-party support is not going to be based on the console sales, and you can even see that today, because why would Sega, a company that did not support the Xbox One fully, they didn't release Persona and they didn't release Yakuza on the Xbox One, why are they making Play Anywhere games now? And they're putting the full slate on there. And so it's obviously not because Xbox is doing great in Japan. It's obviously not because they're doing great in console sales lately. And then why is Square suddenly going, oh, okay, well, I guess we're going to come over Xbox. It's not because of sales, right? So what Microsoft is doing right now is they're selling this vision that it's going to be everywhere. They're going to do it with other things. What's going to attract people to the ecosystem is not going to be what always used to attract people to the ecosystem. And in the meantime, they need to figure out how to still keep kind of making money. And so I think right now what they're trying to do is thread that needle between where they're at today and where they're going. And I do think exclusives do matter still today to the brand, to the mind share, to people being comfortable.
Right.
But I think they're going to matter less and less when everybody feels like they're Steam. And that's eventually what everybody's going to feel like. Like you're just going to be an app. PlayStation's going to be an app. Xbox is going to be an app. Everybody's going to be sitting on these devices where these apps are next to each other. And that's not an if, it's just a when. And some people have different opinions and timelines, but the general thing of what he's saying, I do believe all the data is pointing to say that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand like the digital library fear and the third-party support fear because of like you were saying, OBM, like old mentalities that it's attached to the number of consoles that you have. So people are like, well, if the console is selling less and less, why would a third party bother coming onto the system that is making them less and less money? Is the juice worth the squeeze, essentially,
right?
Because if they weren't porting them before, why the hell would they port them now? But to your point, I think the ecosystem itself is changing, and we've been seeing it for a long time, but now I think it's in our face. So people are very much picking their sides on what they think Xbox should do and what they shouldn't. But what are you pointing at, Dave?
In your face.
Yeah, in your face, sucker.
Well, I think the last thing to consider is people keep looking at this generation as like a brand new generation. It's really, we are still an extension of the 2013 Xbox One PS4 generation. Once things went digital, and started going cross generation, support. It basically, it's almost like a PC gamer upgrading a GPU this time, or an Apple user upgrading a phone. It's not really. People aren't starting over again. It's the price you pay to move from PlayStation to Xbox or Xbox to PlayStation is significant. And it's not just the cost of your games. You're giving up, you're going to have to rebuild your friends list. You have your digital libraries with your games that you play forever that are there. It's you're switching from your achievements to trophies or vice versa. You got your favorite controller. You're paying a big price to move from one thing to another or a handful of games when there's thousands of games and there's lots of substitutes for almost every genre that comes out. And so, you know, like when you look at all the the games that sell the most and that are played the most, they are still being made for the Xbox One and PS4. And that is one of the reasons why I think sales are slowed down. And it almost doesn't even matter that they slow down, because the user bases, the active users, are staying the same, right? It's like even the Xbox's user base, when they sold more towards the beginning of this generation, didn't change a lot. When they sold less in the last year, it didn't change a lot. It's now no longer correlating, and I think your third-party support is going to be more based off of how many active users are in your ecosystem every year, and then what are they doing within that ecosystem? Are they buying stuff or not? Right. So that's really what it's going to come down to, not how many consoles you sold, because that doesn't tell any story.
100%. But I think people will take what you're saying, right, and they'll twist that. Well, that means they don't need to make a console, right?
Right.
No, they need to.
Yeah.
You need to keep these 40 million. That's a really good point, man.
It's a big chunk of people, though.
It's a huge. They're the evangelists for Game Pass. They're the people that are giving you the mind share of all the games you're releasing. They are profitable. Even Tim Stewart, you know, Tim Stewart, like he's the guy who probably wants to support everything. Like even he says that this is a profitable. The Game Pass users, the core gamers right now on Xbox are very profitable. It's not that they don't want to keep you. They really need the current Xbox 40 million people to build that bridge to everywhere. Like you really are the center point, and they still are important. That's why you're going to still keep getting hardware as well.
And that's why, you know, when people, you know, I understand that people have those fears, but like I personally like, I try not to insult anybody.
Right.
But I think that it lacks a lot of rational thinking within looking at what Microsoft has built with their ecosystem and the digital library and all the things that they've been doing within it, to have the fear that is going away. Right.
Yeah,
so it's just not, for me, there's like, I can't get behind that idea when they've been innovating in that space in the digital ecosystem more than anybody else in the games industry, right? They've been pushing that forward more than anybody else in the industry, giving you more access points than anybody else in the industry. To have the fear that is at risk, that storefront that is so multifaceted, that reaches so many people, doesn't equate in my mind, right? Now, if you want to say, well, I'm afraid that they're not going to make high-end hardware for me anymore to access that ecosystem because I'm a console gamer, I can understand that slightly more.
Yeah, I can too.
But I've always felt like that this is where the industry was going, to where the devices that we're going to get as console game enthusiasts will be sold to us more for what we are, enthusiasts, because we are no longer the mass market, right? Gaming mass market used to be console gaming, right? It's not anymore. We're just a portion of it, and it's actually the share of that is actually decreasing, even if console sales kind of stagnate or slightly stay the same, because there's a lot of us stubborn old dudes that just love to play on consoles, right? Which I am one. I have 6 Xboxes in my house, right? They're going, because we are the people that spend the most money, right? Yeah. We are the people that talk about it the most. We follow it the most. We spread the messages the most. All those things that you said, they're going to have good reason to make dedicated hardware for the core enthusiasts, right? And I think they always will. The key is now, because it's actually has to be less of a mass appeal item, that's like, we actually might get more creative and interesting things than we've ever gotten before, because they're kind of unleashed to do what we potentially want most as gamers, right? Instead of like, how is this going to sell to the most people at the cheapest price and that kind of thing. Now it's like, how do we get these dorks, these geeks, these nerds to want to spend this much money on a box, right? And like, I'll take that all day. You sell me a $700 box that I know is these developers are gonna have poor optimization and all that shit, but my console can brute force that shit to 60 frames or 120 frames or whatever. I'll take that, right, every day of the week. Now give me a hardcore handheld too that's dockable and all this stuff, and like do some other interesting things. Who knows? But with how big they are now, like people just still think of Xbox as like this little brother that's trying to make an impact in the industry. They got ABK. They're
can easily, it's people are pretending like they can easily just like the wind's gonna blow too hard and they're just gonna go away. Like we're past that. Phil made sure that didn't happen because it almost did, and now they're a juggernaut. They're one of the biggest publishers in the world, and I'm with you, Mav. It's weird. I think people are just taking this to extremes out of fears for their console, and I get that. I definitely get it, 100%, guys. But I don't think
jump in here real quick.
It's an issue. Go ahead, Dave.
Sorry, gonna jump in real quick. Welcome out to over 250 people in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. We have a couple of quick super chats I want to make sure we get because I don't want to distract him. And also I do have something I want to play for you guys real quick. It's a real short, but I want actually not play it. It's something I just want to show you. It's along with what OBM was talking about as far as digital goes. So let's do these super chats real quick.
All right. Anonymous Boss with the $10 says, salute everyone. Phil Spencer is very smart. He wants to penetrate the mobile gaming space, gathering those gamers and increase Game Pass numbers. I can't help myself. By the way, are you guys ready for the next Fable and Gears 6? Yes, and yes. Absolutely. Appreciate that, man. Ray just became a member for a month. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, Ray.
Thanks, Ray. We appreciate you, buddy. That's awesome. And here we go. Sith Lord,
Sith Lord with the $2 says, my afternoon was ruined, but you all made my night. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, Sith. That. Thanks for coming out, buddy.
So what I wanted to show real quick.
Yeah, do it.
And I'll just real quick, which I thought was kind of cool. And then I also, just whenever you're ready for the next clip, we'll give it another try, but a different clip.
I know we're gonna try a different one, a smaller one.
Exactly. All right, so let's see here. Share the screen. Talking myself through it because I'll screw things up. There we go. All right. So you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought this was pretty cool. It just as a new article on Windows Central talking about the his Xbox lead Phil Spencer says Microsoft is aiming to let you be able to play your own, the ones that you own yourself, digital games on the cloud this year. That's going to be big.
Yeah, I agree. That kind of announcement almost gives me the backwards compatibility feeling, like when they announced that. When I saw this, I mean, they've been talking about this. Phil, this isn't a secret or anything. Like Phil's been talking about this for a while, so we knew it was coming. I just kind of forgot about it, to be honest with you, and it's good to see that it's still alive and kicking. And Phil's saying it's going to happen this year. I'm glad Jez came out with the article. This was on our list of topics but I had it as a rumor. I don't know, because I could have made that in Photoshop. What happened with this conversation between these guys? So I was like, is this another fucking bullshit rumor that we're going to talk about and it's going to end up not being true? But Jez, I guess, backed this up.
And it's so good too, because like I have Elden Ring digitally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It'd be nice to be able to just put your your whatever source of mobile that you want to play on, and then just be able to cloud stream it on your Stream Deck or whatever. That would be awesome. Sorry. So carry on. Dude.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, to another point, we know Diablo 4 is coming March 28th. But again, that obviously shouldn't be touching cloud because of because they had to outsource that to Ubisoft. But again, it sounds like, and I kind of always expected this, it sounds like Xbox is going to just cut some sort of deal so they get it anyways. Yeah. That's what I always expected to happen, was Xbox be like, okay, Ubi, we shook hands, a deal. We need to still be able to get those, without making the consumer actually have to pay more for those titles. But I think that's a cool thing. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
And shout out to Ubisoft real quick, because I think they're the only ones that give you the dual entitlement, like with their subscription service. Because if you subscribe to Ubisoft Plus, you can play the games on PC or Xbox, which is awesome. And you get cross progression, all that stuff. Just like
that's a good point, Mav. Yeah,
awesome. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's just like one of those perks. I guess I did know about that, but now, like you say it out loud, it's like, yeah, they didn't have to do that, but I guess they're kind of like Xbox in that way.
Originally, it wasn't like that, and they added it in.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Well, they should awesome. For $17.99 a month, in my opinion. Yeah. But that's everyone knows how I feel about the Ubisoft one, but
They also give you like the Ultimate Edition of the game.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point. I do forget about that added value right there for sure. And I'm probably going to do it for Prince of Persia anyway, so I'll just shut the hell up anyways.
Next flip.
Yeah, I would try the Sarah All Games. Should be I don't know which order it is. Right? It's a smaller
All of
file,
our
so hopefully
games
that one
are
works.
always in Game Pass. And so I'm excited to announce, with the coming together that we had with Activision Blizzard King, that Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th, which I'm super, super excited to share today. And it's all part of our commitment to make the Xbox experience and the games that we build as widely available as possible. So now the 34 million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
There you go. Diablo 4 coming soon. Maybe not on the timeline everyone wanted, but seems like this is the first of maybe the drip feed. I don't know if it's going to be. I feel like it's going to. The ABK stuff's gonna kind of come over time, but any thoughts on that, guys, on the whole Diablo thing and about ABK in general, other games coming on any timeline for you?
Not the late ports. I mean, obviously the Call of Duty being day one is going to be a monster, and it's going to be interesting to see what this new world is with Game Pass. One of the things that out of all these rumors, the ones that did concern me the most had to do with Game Pass. And to me, like when they do move into that thing I just described a few minutes ago, that world where you're basically an app or a launcher on every damn device and everybody's everywhere. When you get into that world, right now Steam dominates that world on PC, and then you got Nvidia dominating that world in cloud. Like they got 25 million users on their their GeForce, whatever that is. Their
GeForce Now.
Stream, GeForce Now, and I mean they're catching up to Xbox active users.
Dude, I know,
and that's kind of wild. And I do think people underestimate because of like our experience with the Crackdown demo and the fact that they've been talking about it way too early for too long. I think before they were really ready to deliver on anything. We don't really take it that seriously anymore because we're used to hearing about it and it just goes one ear and out the other. But I do think that stuff is going to start to play a real role now in like Game Pass growth and everything in the near future. So it's really great to hear that they're still doing the day one stuff, and that Call of Duty doesn't seem like it's going to be an exception to that rule, because in that world, Game Pass is really the differentiator, right? It's like the reason why is a Steam gamer going to even bother with the Xbox ecosystem? The only thing they have that really differentiates themselves from Steam is that Game Pass, and I think that can coexist, right? You can probably have somebody in the same device who's a hardcore Steam loyalist if you fix the damn app store, all that stuff, and make it easy for them to use. That's actually that's a nice compliment to Steam. It's a nice compliment if you're a PlayStation gamer and it's only a click away. It's a nice compliment if you're a Nintendo gamer and it's only a click away. So I think that it's going to be really interesting to see kind of what happens now with ABK involved.
Yeah. There's one more day that we'll play that comes from Sarah. It's called Sarah Game Pass Always Day One. Why don't we play that, because OBM was basically just talking about that, because I think that's what the fears that Mav and I probably had that were similar, and we'll go into the rumor that we heard about that, which was clearly debunked right here.
Okay, it was Sarah. What?
But it's Sarah Game Pass Always Day One.
Got it.
It should be the only other Sarah one, I think, in there. Oh, maybe there's another one.
Others.
There's another one. Sorry.
One other, yeah. There we go.
You're playing on a platform where you get to access Game Pass. And all of the games from our incredible range of studios will always launch in Game Pass day one. And you're playing on a platform that's dedicated to you, like player-first features, cross-play, cross-save, cross-progression, backwards compatibility, being able to play your games in your library anywhere you want because of the investments that we make in cloud gaming. And so you're playing somewhere where you're investing and you get to take the games forward with you and across all of the screens where you are. And I think most importantly, Xbox is a place where when you're investing in Xbox, you're investing somewhere that is dedicated to making games more successful. and creators more successful so that they can invest more to bring even better experiences to you all of the time.
There it is. Froggy says, play all the Sarah you want. Yeah, I know where you're going with that, Froggy. I got you.
Let's get Mav's viewpoint on this.
Yeah, absolutely, Mav.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Mav heard the same rumor that I did, and maybe he was in panic mode for a little bit on the Game Pass side.
That started to be a big question because it's like, what would they do? Because, ABK is, even if they didn't like necessarily not have to do it, like exclude it, like it is that extra little thing that it's like, okay, how much money are we going to make by not including it in the Game Pass, right? Like, and that's like what you don't know if those money people are going to win out in that argument there.
Right.
Like, well, so this was for me thinking what I saw was the best vision going forward for the future of the ecosystem is to double down on what your vision was, right? And I feel like there's a lot of panic and paranoia in the community and games media and all these different things about numerous things. There's just going on so far with crazy rumors and stuff, but this was one that I felt like had the most like potential
plausibility
to it.
I agree.
Now, if ABK in itself was held out, right, that would still be something like, okay, I actually kind of understand it, but I don't.
You can get it, but you don't have to. Right. Exactly, Matt.
So I didn't want to see that happen, and like, I feel like this statement, this statement here, was the strongest of the entire thing for me because
me too.
The community was all paranoid about the ecosystem, about the digital library, about all this kind of stuff, projecting weakness with Xbox, projecting failure within the Xbox model, right? Mm-hmm. And going into whatever they were doing, I felt like all along what they needed to do, and we talked about this on a couple shows about what do they need to do at this, whatever they have, is like they need to restore people's faith in the future of their hardware, and they need to restore people's faith in the future of their ecosystem and the strength of their ecosystem. Mm-hmm. And so I was gonna be curious what kind of info or what kind of news was gonna be here, and was it gonna be bad, or were they gonna have to explain new Game Pass models or and all these kind of things within this? But instead, what they did is like, hey, we're doubling down on what we're doing and what works for us, and we are happy with the way that our systems are. We're happy with the fact that all of our games go in day and date, and in fact, this is part of the reason why we got ABK to put those games into Game Pass day one, and we are going to continue to drive that as our big fundamental selling point to our ecosystem, which is value and consumer features and access. Like, all of these different things are their fun, and they've used this word too later when talking about compatibility, talking about cross progression, talking about all those like consumer friendly features that we take for granted on Xbox, right? Like when people are losing all this faith and everything, I'm like telling people like, if you compare it to the other consoles, the other actual console platforms, because that's what people are still making these arguments for Xbox and their fear of their future. The next Switch is about to be announced at some point, right? And we don't even know if that's going to be backwards compatible right now. There's actual good arguments people are making back and forth about if they're going to do that. And it's just with Xbox, you don't really have that concern, like in PlayStation, like I said before, you can't even use a PS4 controller on a PS5. Why? Just because they choose not to let you, so they can sell more controllers, right? Like, there's so many different things that we take for granted there. And when it talks about compatibility and faith going forward in your purchases, I have way more faith in, as for a console platform, Xbox than any of the others. Plus, they also give you dual entitlement for the PC games for first party, and also a lot of third party games, because if they get into Game Pass and become purchasable that way, you get them also in the Xbox PC store a lot of times too, right? So there's lots of those reasons, and they kind of doubled down on the selling points of the Xbox ecosystem that we as gamers a lot of times take for granted because the other platforms don't do it. But then also saying that we're doubling down on Game Pass. All of you people that are concerned about it, you can still be concerned. It's for years this was going on, but it was from the PlayStation side. Oh, is is Xbox sustainable? Is Game Pass sustainable? Is Xbox profitable? Is Game Pass going to be able to be okay? Is it bad for gaming? Is it bad? But the last couple of weeks, it was the Xbox guys doing it. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Just, like, the financials just came out and they were.
I know. Like, we were profitable and all of a sudden, no, we're not. 2 weeks later, I was like, how the math ain't mathing, guys. It was fine before.
They created this illusionary problem that did not exist for the sake of an argument because of a fear, right? And all this just cemented. And the reason I think it was strongest, because for me as a consumer, that's what I care about, is my own experience, right?
Yep.
And they just told me, Sarah Bond told me, I'm going to get all those games in the Game Pass. And she just told me that I'm not losing all those other features and all that other kind of stuff. And that has me every reason to be happy and excited going forward, because my dollar spent in the Xbox ecosystem just got more valuable.
Yeah, absolutely, Mav. Thank you. Basically, Mav just said everything I was thinking. Mav had the same concern I did, because we always worry about the money guys making decisions. And I'm like, this one, I'm not going to say who said it, but someone mentioned that Call of Duty might not see Game Pass because they might parse it out because they could probably make more money outside of Game Pass. And I was like, crap, that actually kind of makes sense. I'm like, please don't happen.
Nope.
I can tell you right now, I would have ripped Microsoft a whole new asshole if that happened. I promise you. If there was no more ABK Day One, Game Pass Daily does not become Game Pass Daily anymore. I'm changing the fucking name. I'm going Tim Dog on y'all. I would have done that. I would, to me, that would have been a terrible move. You set history and a precedent of every consumer expecting all your games to come day one. And it's sad that she had to say that. Always. That's exactly mad. I was just going to say that. She let us know, not just today, the future. You don't have to worry about it. The expectation is every single first party game is coming day and day, which is what I've been telling everybody. Because I got people that'll DM me and be like, do you really think like all the games? Yes, always, because that's what they've done. And that's why their history has told me. And that's what I expect in the future. Thank you, Sarah, for bringing that home and just letting everyone know, at least on the Game Pass side, it's not going to affect our pockets. We're going to save money, because ABK for me was a big deal, because I always buy COD. I like the Blizzard games. That's at least $140 a year that I would have had to spend extra. You know what I mean? If they decided to pull that BS. But luckily they didn't, and that's not what they're doing. But One Bad Mother, do you want to add anything to this topic on the whole Game Pass thing? And Sarah just, easing our fears, I guess?
Just a little one, since I know I've talked so much already.
Okay.
And I pretty much agree 100% with what Mav was saying, except for one little point. You said double down. I think it's like more like 7 times down.
Yeah.
Right.
So just correcting the math on that a little bit. I mean, you're taking a $70 billion company and putting their games day one, and it's because everything they make are monsters, and the fact that they are going the assumption that they're going to stay day one with those games is telling us everything we need to know in terms of what they think for the viability of their original vision, for Game Pass, right? So that's awesome, and that's exciting. That's probably the most exciting thing to come out of that.
Yeah, I agree. Dave, you want to weigh in on that, or do you want me to tell you the next thing to play?
No, I know what we put it in the chat. I'm gonna play it right now.
All right,
let's do this. And also welcome out to everybody that's here, man. What a great chat tonight. What a great panel, dude. We are rocking, and I love it, and keeping it going. And welcome Hargeet, Chani. We have Dreadpool joined us. I'm jumping in some of the other podcasts that are going on right now and saying hi. Wilmy was like, "Are you doing a show?" Yes, I am.
Or magic, Wilmy.
Exactly. All right, so
pause time.
Right.
Exactly. Well, like I said, there's so many great podcasts out there, and I just love it. So, all right, so holiday talk. Let's do it.
Role that hardware plays for us as a business for Xbox.
When we look at our hardware, it really is, and Phil said this earlier, it's where you get like the most flagship seminal experience of Xbox. And it also represents a developer target. Our developers can build the specs of our hardware, and we invest to make sure they know when they do that the games are going to run great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make. So we're giving them an easy way to access as many players as possible. And we actually have more creators right now building for Xbox than ever before thousands of them by nature of those investments. And we got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday. And we're also invested in the next generation roadmap. And what we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators and the visions that they're building.
All right, let's set the scene. The technical leap, like this can go in a lot of different directions. I have no doubt OBM is ready to rear on this one, but pause. I don't know. Like some people, like I know, like your average consumer, if they were to hear that, I think they go right to resolution and frame rates. And I personally do not think that's what this is. I think it's AI personally. But go ahead, OBM, take it away, man. I know you wanted to say some stuff on this, so go for it.
I mean, and hopefully, if you guys had thoughts on it, I don't want to take all your air because I've been talking a lot. But this is one I'm actually excited about because one of the reasons I ever came to the Xbox ecosystem back in 2001, besides Halo, the thing that got me excited about Xbox back then is like they were really trying to do things completely different than what anything we were used to back then. And when I helped the Xbox Aero team put that book together when I used to be with the site, I actually one of the things I had to do is do a bunch of research on like the initial original Xbox, and also did an interview with Ed Freeze about his experience with that. And it was interesting because Seamus quote tweeted Tom Moore when he talked about the biggest technical leap, and he says about the biggest technical leap you'll ever see in a generation. He basically said, hey, it feels like it's 2000 again. Everyone was worried about it, whether they sold out, but while they're simultaneously growing, like they're developing something amazing in secret. And look at the one thing I remember from like when I was writing that stuff is like Bill Gates got when he initially revealed the Xbox back in 2000. It was like March of 2000. He got up on stage and he talked about like this world where the PC wasn't going to be the only place that people go on the internet to be entertained. He talked about all these devices in the living rooms, in their pockets, the tablet devices. This was like 7 years before there was ever an iPhone, before there was anybody knew what a tablet even looked like. This is when broadband adoption was at 4%, and he's talking, and they're talking about this machine that's going to be broadband only, right? That's coming out next year, and broadband adoption at that moment was only 4%. And like Blackley, like when he talked about a lot of the stuff that they were looking at back then, they were looking at like focusing on ease of development. He said that back then all the stuff was bespoke and it was really hard to develop for. It's like almost like we've repeated history again. It's development's become hard and expensive again. They were going to put it, like he basically said that if you're not going to put the hard drive in this thing, I'm out. Like we're not even going to build this, because they were focused on doing these things that were going to like change the paradigm. And what they ended up establishing with that original Xbox that only sold 25 million, by the way, like it got killed by the PlayStation 6-1, but they like laid the groundwork for the whole social gaming revolution, the whole digital game revolution. They merged, they did a lot to bring in the PC developer to the console space where they kind of always existed separately, the Western developers. They kind of merged those two spaces and new games started getting made because they were influencing each other. Like the hard drive really changed the way that people actually designed games. And I think they're doing something very similar right now with what they're envisioning for 2026. So like when I looked at this entire podcast, like to me, I was afraid going in that I wasn't really worried about like whether consumer behaviors are going to change drastically because of some port or something like that. But I was concerned about is this going to be 2013 messaging where everybody freaks out and like throws their Xboxes out the window and your brand is like on fire and you don't even get there. And I think they were able to kind of thread that needle. I think right now it's just about they understand that the industry is changing and they're going to actually try to lead this like they did back then, paradigm changes for the way that people think about the ecosystem, the reason why people are even Xbox gamers in the future. Like I'm expecting them to use AI in major ways to like really like innovate the way you even the way you like just the whole entire ecosystem, the features about it. Like you think about like matchmaking back in the day, like with Halo 2, how that was like revolutionary, right? I think we're going to start seeing things like that sort of enter in again in features that come into the ecosystem that enhance the whole entire thing. Whether it's like how it recommends you games or the way that you get help or that just social features, all that stuff. I think all that's going to be they're shooting to really make that a selling point for the next generation. And again, they understand that beyond these walls that have existed aren't going to protect anybody anymore, including them and their 40 million. And the thing that I think she's referring to, by the way, is it leaked in the documents from the another thing that leaked from the
FTC trial.
FTC trial was, they're going to have NPUs in there, which are basically AI coprocessors. For anybody who doesn't know what that is,
Yep.
And AI coprocessors allow you to do a lot of things you could never do previously in game design. I also think that maybe we're underestimating the impact that's going to have on game development because she's talked about that in previous. It was like a throwaway line in some other interview she did. She mentioned something about like how AI is going to change development as well. And back when Seamus was building the original Xbox, like that was one of the big things that he was focused on. He was focused on, first of all, how can we make this way easier for you guys? Because it's really hard for you guys to make games for these consoles. And then the next thing is how can we do things that are going to allow you to do new things in terms of how you design games and wow people and things like that. And so that's what this AI stuff is going to help them accomplish. I think also from one end, let's simplify this. Yes, I know we're developing for all these platforms and it's really, really expensive. Let's figure out how to like bring down that cost a little bit, streamline a lot of things. And then the second part is let's also give you tools so that you can do new and interesting things, including and actually Bill Stillwell said something about this like 3 years ago on ILP. He talked about, eventually we're going to have new genres, stuff that you're not even that you didn't even know you didn't even know you wanted. And to me that's when Xbox was at their best, is when they used to create products and services and features that you didn't even they weren't what you were asking for, but you didn't realize
you didn't know you wanted it.
Yeah.
Until they delivered.
Right. And aside from Game Pass, they really haven't done that for the last 10 years. So Game Pass is one that I would definitely throw in there. But outside of that, they've been playing they've been on their heels for a decade, trying to show everybody, hey, we're doing what everybody's asking us. We're doing what the PlayStation people are want and all this other stuff. I think it's going to be. That's why I'm actually excited. I just want to make sure they get there and don't F up things before that time. But I think 2026, You're going to start to see some really, really cool things. And I don't think they're all going to be like forever exclusive to Xbox, but I do think they could be Microsoft has the tools, the manpower. They work with these hardware companies because of AI, because they're a leader in AI. They have a lot of opportunity to lead the way, to kind of set the table, just like they did before. And that stuff will be standard. Eventually, PlayStation will have all the same stuff. We'll have the same genres, all that stuff. But I think they have a shot here to take a lead and create some of those zeitgeist moments again. So it's a thing that hasn't got a lot of focus on, but just kind of seeing Seamus jump in on there, kind of knowing what they're referring to because of the leaks. I'm really, really excited because I think next generation you are going to start to see a paradigm shift in terms of gameplay, game design, AI. Like even Todd Howard, I'll throw one more thing. And he did an interview a couple years ago and was talking about like the next Elder Scrolls. And he basically said, hey, the technology that I need to make the game that I envision is not even available yet. And I think he's talking a lot about this stuff where you have NPCs that are incredibly dynamic, that, that the game worlds can evolve almost organically without a developer having to send a DLC over, right? Like stuff like that is going to be possible that wasn't, and it's going to change. I think the way I think a lot of people, think about some of these games. So yeah, that's kind of like everything in a nutshell. I'll let some of you guys speak on the rest of it.
Appreciate you, OBM. Game and Forte with the $2 super chat says, 4 great dudes and 1 great podcast. OBM, come visit me. There you go.
Oh, what's up, Forte? For people who don't know, he works at a GameSpot that's like 15 minutes from me, and I do.
Oh, okay.
All right. I do got to bring my son in there. Forte's awesome. He's one of the nicest guys.
He's and I just watched his video the other day. He's coming back into making his videos again. So congrats on that, Forte. That was a good opinion and good video that I saw the other day. So good for you, man.
Welcome out, Hargeet. We appreciate
buddy?
you jumping on and joining us. I want to get Mav's opinion, and then we'll jump over to Hargeet. That way, because I don't want Mav to miss his bars.
Here comes Hargeet to steal our shine, as always. What's up, Hargeet? Yeah, no, dude, this was more about doing what I felt like they needed to do at this thing, was just dispel the fears about hardware and ecosystem that was running rampant throughout the community, irrationally so, you know what I mean? And coming out there and not just, again, when we talked about doubling down on the Game Pass thing, using the terminology that she was using with the leap, right? I think that was done on purpose to double down on their commitment to making compelling hardware going forward, right? Hardware that people are going to want to play on and access that ecosystem on. She called it the flagship experience for Xbox. She explained about it being basically like a development level there that for the developers to have to try and reach to for optimization and all those kind of things as well, right? So for all of those reasons, again, like it never made sense to me that there was any fears about Xbox making hardware, at least in the near future, where hardware is still relevant. Like we talk about 2-3 generation types, if generation is even a thing, by then anyway, like away, then maybe there's no reason to be concerned about any consoles because maybe they won't even exist in the future. Like who knows? But until there's not a huge, massive audience wanting that experience, they're going to make hardware for those people because they want those people that want a device like that to be gatekept into their storefront if possible.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Like they want you to spend money in their store, right? As opposed to somebody else's. Now they're willing to go to the other stores as well because there's huge audiences out there and they're branching out. But as many people as they can have in their own, they want to pull as many people in there as possible. And they're going to keep having hardware to do that. And I think because of the size that Xbox is now, with everything they have, this entire huge library of games they have more motivation than ever before to make such hardware because they have so much more to offer inside of it.
Yes.
Right? So those things always made sense to me as well. And that's why I never understood a lot of the fears. But I do think because of the size they are now, because of all of the studios they have, the publishing arms they have, everything they have within Xbox now, it unleashes more of the creativity there because the hardware, even though it's not the whole thing, right? It is still an important.
It's a big chunk, though.
It's an important part of what they're doing.
Yep.
But also, when you look at the overall amount of money they have within the Xbox division now, like Windows is within that same branch now, at the Microsoft, which is just crazy. Surface is there as well. Like, so when you look at the size of that arm of the company, right? Then you look at R&D for hardware, putting out hardware. It's actually not as costly as it used to be for something that was a smaller piece of the pie. Now you have potential to be more creative, put out more different things potentially. Remember we saw that pyramid thing with the leaks about this is out of reach, right? This is out of reach. That reach just got a lot bigger once they closed on ABK. Yeah. You know what I mean? They got a lot more money. They got a lot more. They're a bigger part of Microsoft. So things they couldn't really do before, I feel like is more on the table now. And I'm more excited for the future of the hardware space with an Xbox than I have been before, because I feel like it's like a little bit of like they're Xbox Unleashed. Like they're gonna unleash the beast here and just like give us some really cool shit, man. And I'm excited to see what it is.
I love that take, Mav. You very much kind of in my head. That's exactly how I feel. But we'll go to Hargeet. Hargeet, I don't know how much you heard. We're talking about Sarah and mentioning the biggest tech leap in the future for the future consoles. What's your take? What's your take on that? What does that mean to you? To me, it meant AI. I think to One Bad Mother, it meant AI. I don't know. It could go in so many different directions. But what's your take on what Sarah said during this podcast?
Well, so hardware is an interesting one, right? Because at some point there's just diminishing returns, right? Like I look at my 4090 and I'm like, okay, what is a 5090 going to give me?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe
True.
I get more frames, but I mean, DLSS kind of does that for me. So like, at what point am I just good enough, right? At some point it's just like, I've gotten to the point where I don't need more hardware. Are we 1 generation or 2 generations away from that? If the next Xbox comes out, the next PlayStation comes out, assuming there is a PS6, according to our good friend
Our
King,
guys.
there is no PS6, right? But assuming there is, right? Let's say that box comes out, gives you 1200 to 1440p at 60 frames with path tracing.
Yeah.
What more do you need? When do you say it's enough? Right? What's
Never,
your upgrade
Hargeet.
path after that? Right? What do you say? I need 18K? Like, no, seriously. Your eyes can't see it. Like,
I know.
At some
Dude,
point, you're just like, why do I need more? So this could be the last one, right? Not because like they can't make another one. There's just no point, right? So let's say they do one after that. What are you going to get? AI capabilities? That's basically it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Sure.
AI can be supplemented from
Maybe
the
like
top.
frame generation, like AI frame generation to get you
Well, they
up
already
to.
have that built in, right? The next processor is going to have an AI just for DLSS, for that capability, right?
Right.
So that's going to be native in the APU. So they already have that. They're going to have some AI capability for the game itself, but a lot of that can be supplemented in cloud. So what's next? Like, so if this is the last one, they need to focus on that, right? Give me at least that level of performance.
Right.
After that, it just becomes an ecosystem issue, right? Because look, if this is the last time you're going to get a console, right, from PlayStation, from Nintendo, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, right? At that point, it becomes, is this ecosystem better than the other guy, right? Because it continues on, right? Like you're saying, OBM, we now are in a different world, right? It used to be every generation, it's a new, right? My old stuff is gone. It's just gone. It used to be just physical reality. I can't take my NES cartridge and plop it in my SNES. It just wasn't an option, right? So it was just gone. So I started new. Well, that kind of changed with the last generation where everything just moved forward, right? So in that world, okay, your next console kind of takes the last 2 gens and gives it to you. Now, Xbox does a little better and gives you the 360 and the original Xbox as well, right? But okay, once you're there, like, what's next? So what is it that you're going to get from that ecosystem that's better than your competitor? That's kind of where it is now, right? At some point, it also could just be an app on a TV or something like that. But
Sure.
Your next console, I'm looking at it as like this is it. Like you got to make it what you want it to be. Now, what are they going to reveal this holiday? I don't know if it's the next console. I don't like if you hear the words, it doesn't sound like it is. It sounds like they have something else to tell us, right?
Keystone, maybe.
One. I think it'd be
It could be, right? It
Well,
could be
people.
the
I mean, I feel like people are backtracking. I feel like a lot of us, and I kind of believe that the discless one wasn't happening, and I feel like it's coming back. I feel like the talk of the discless is coming back, but I wonder. Maybe it's Keystone. Maybe they're crazy enough to. Maybe they were able to drop it to the price point that they wanted to. Maybe that's actually the thing that comes out because that might hit more consumers than this thing would.
That was
in
the
my
$100 target, right?
The
$100
$100 device. Absolutely. Like that's
If they could do
what
it,
I
why
would
not,
do. But
right? And then so that might be what they announced. I'm assuming it's the controllers. I think that's the thing that
I think that's a
right?
give
So-
me. Yeah, for
right.
sure.
So hopefully we get the
They
controllers.
said consoles and controllers this holiday on the Twitter post.
So then it's
Yeah.
got to be something
It's
like
true.
that,
Yeah.
right? So I don't think they're going to announce the next gen, but maybe they do. That's kind of an
But
odd one because it seemed like they said and.
But
We'll be announcing.
on the Twitter post, they said options for you this holiday. Console and controller options for you this holiday.
That feels like the discless.
That's why I felt like
Yeah, so it's got to be that, right? So
But
it's
we'll
going to be
see.
some revisions. So that's kind of what we're getting there. One of the key things they got to look at though is, and I don't know if you wanted to talk about this or not, but Nintendo moved themselves out of 2024, right? They're
Yeah.
moving to 2025. PlayStation has bupkis for this year, nothing, right? They have
Yep.
no games, right? And I don't even know if they have anything else coming after like March, April, right? What do they have? Like I don't know, right? Is there anything? Do we know of any exclusive that's coming? Like it's kind of just empty
I don't know any
all the way
dates.
through.
I know
Right,
theories.
so-
They might lose some exclusives in the second half.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this is Xbox's
Math.
year, right? And I just
Oh, yeah.
I was on with Fonz on GTL, and I think the problem I have is Microsoft and marketing sucks. Right? They are a very enterprise focused company, and they don't do consumer marketing the way they need to. They used to. They used to have a lot of fun
Sure.
consumer marketing stuff, but they have totally dropped that. And this is the year to get it back and say you need to make a push. Right? There's two big things happening. First, you got games, and nobody, the other platforms don't. They just don't.
Right.
So there's nothing there. You have the year; it's yours. Second, you get Call of Duty, and
Mhm.
this may be the first, current gen only Call of Duty. Right? Up to now, it's been cross gen.
Yeah, good point.
So you have an impetus to push people for that hardware. So along with the hardware, they need to market the hell out of it. Obviously, they're going to have bundles. There's just no way out of it. They're not going to. They're going to
Yeah.
have bundles.
100%.
You're going to have Call of Duty bundle with Series S and X. This is going to happen. But you have to market the heck out of it. People didn't even know there were freaking discounts for Xbox.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the Christmas
They
discounts.
just
yeah.
don't. They don't market right. Their marketing is they'll put a little ad on the side of your webpage. Nobody's paying attention to that.
I think it's all going to change, though, Hargeet. I really do
I
think
hope
this
it
is gonna
does.
be the year.
I hope
They
it
got
does.
the billboard in Times Square. I seen that on Twitter.
Yeah, one thing people have to remember is they just spent 2 years fighting. They spent 2
Yeah,
years
they're
pretending
still
they were
fighting
the
them technically.
worst. They spent 2 years pretending they were the worst gaming company in the history.
Yeah.
of gaming.
We're hurt and we're limping.
Playing dead. We can't
Yeah.
do anything. We can't sell anything.
Playing possum. Yeah.
And also, I think there's a second stage to that as well, which is you just try to swallow a $69 billion company.
Swallow it. Sorry.
And that's a lot to kind of sort out. I think they have to. I think the reason for a lot, even going back to some of the stuff we were talking about earlier with some of the differences and rumors and stuff like that, I think there's a lot of discussion about everything, and I think they took a microscope to the entire Xbox, to the entire Microsoft gaming division, which is where those 1900 layoffs came. And by the way, I mean, we know they weren't all just ABK layoffs; they were throughout the business. So I think they're
And we also knew they were coming.
Yeah, so they're resetting it. So I don't know that we even know what their marketing strategy is going to be. This day and age, I think there is a lot more reliance on things like social media. So we'll see if they get better there. But I guess I'm more of a wait and see, almost on so many aspects of Microsoft gaming.
Hey,
that we
RHETRI.
can't call.
Yes, sir.
Read that because
Sure.
that may be a good point too.
Zay says Keystone along with owned games on cloud announcement. I mean,
that'd
it
be
would
great.
be a
pretty
very
good.
positive announcement. You know what I mean? Just like back compat, like we were talking about earlier. But I would love to see. I kind of it probably won't happen because usually what I want to happen doesn't happen. But I would rather see Keystone personally than the diskless version. I don't think it's going to bring a lot more people in. I think Keystone would be much greater for consumers, and a lot more consumers would get it.
Well,
than I
the
think
reason they would do
that-
the diskless is to cut the price, right? So if you could, if
Oh,
could
you mean
cut it
of the one right now?
Yeah, the current
Yeah,
one's $500,
sure.
but still losing the money. If they could cut it down to $400 and then have sales at like
I'm down
300,
for that.
250,
And
something
maybe have a
ridiculous.
2 terabyte hard drive.
If I could
exactly.
pick what I wanted this year, right? I would say go ahead and do that handheld.
Oh,
right?
100%.
Because
All right. Well, I didn't know we were going crazy mode, Mav.
no, hold on. Hear me out. I know the
love
rumor
it.
is for like next generation launch and all
Right.
that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But these generations are cross-generational anyway, right?
Sure.
And
Yep.
right, we already know a lot of the technology is only getting more expensive at times for these things to be built. If you were able to build something more in the line of that Series S level, but
Yeah.
in handheld form factor,
Amen to that.
And that if you had it like released like let's say this holiday, you would still get a good like 5 or 6 years out of that use before potentially there's any kind of cutoff into the next generation.
Sure.
I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, but then at that point, you could then release the next version.
But
like,
why would they
more
need to make it as low as the Series S? 'Cause the current ROG Ally is better than that, right? So why wouldn't you just take
I
the
don't-
ROG Ally?
He's
Well,
just
do
he's
that,
just saying
then. I'm
like
just
the
saying
absolute
that.
lowest spec
Yeah.
that you can do,
Because-
like where it's not costing a fortune.
Yeah,
you know?
because the Series S is already that kind
A
of
known SKU.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
known level. It's easy to explain. It's easy to understand. It's also a target for the developers, right?
But they can just
for
keep
like
optimizing.
yeah,
keep
so
that
this will
cost
play
down too.
the games like to the quality
Maybe
of like
longer
your
battery life with it.
Series S and all that kind of stuff.
Venga.
Yeah.
And then
Uh,
6 years from now, release a new version of that after you've tested the waters and gotten even better, right? But you get into that ecosystem now before Steam Deck 2 comes out, before
Yes.
the next badass handheld comes out. So that way you're starting to establish yourself in that space.
I
Well,
would
so-
love that, but I don't think it's happening. But
I
I,
don't
would
either.
love that, Mav. Yeah, I like you shooting for the stars, man.
Me too.
But I don't. So like the portable space is kind of good to have other people kind of play in it. It'd be nice if they brought something out. The problem they have is just the UI, right? The Windows UI is
Yeah.
just so
Yeah, they mentioned
not,
that.
It's
not good.
junk.
And so they need to marry the Xbox UI with Windows. In fact, I want them to just say take the base, kernel level of Xbox and just change it to Windows. And that
Yeah.
way you basically have the ability to bring Steam games over, everything, whatever you want, right? You now just are PC. And but it's an Xbox. Like I maybe don't explain that well. It's still a bespoke box that looks like and plays like an Xbox. It's everything Xbox.
Yeah.
It's just underneath the hood, it's running Windows, so which lets you plug in that Steam store. You can just bring all the Steam
So
games
there's a lot
over.
of theories around that, but that's probably for a different show.
I love
Yeah,
that.
So-
we could go on
Hargeet,
that for a while. Go ahead.
I do have a question to that because you were on a show talking about this before, and I was listening, and it's kind of made my mind go crazy about it, right? So I was listening to the Xbox 2 as well, and Jez brought up the point about your Xbox library for the console space maybe not being able to go over because of licensing and all that kind of stuff.
But it's still an
So-
Xbox.
So how much do you think let's say it's 2026, right?
Mhm.
What would the equivalent power scope be for like a $500 to $600 handheld, like in comparison to today? Like, if they're able to hit that $550, $600 mark, like a ROG Ally is now, like what would that be
2
power
years from now?
wise? Yeah, 2 years from now.
Probably double the ROG Ally, right? It'd probably be in that range,
Probably.
right? And then
So
you
would that
get
be-
double execution.
Would that be high enough for the next generation for the lowest bar?
Like the lowest tier?
Because the one fear is like, okay, if you're, the Series S situation, this
Right.
generation, you know what I mean? Like you don't want to handicap things as well, for the ecosystem. So I like the PC route, like
Yeah.
you're saying, because it's like that takes care of that situation, but not at the cost of my console library moving over natively.
But it would, right? You're missing the part where I'm saying it's a bespoke Xbox hardware. Yes, Windows could take some of those features and have it as well, but you're not going to get your backwards compatibility. It's just not going to be there. This would be bespoke hardware, right? And they might certify other devices to have it too, but it would be, this is an Xbox. It's just, and people may not realize it, it's just running a base kernel right now, right? That happens to be very customized, but it is based on Windows anyway. So they're just taking that and saying, we're just going to give you full Windows compatibility. That's it, right? It just gives you, like right now when you run an Xbox game, there is a layer on top of the base system that runs an Xbox VM that runs your
Right.
game, right? And then on
Which
top
I
of
think
that,
can
it has
continue to do forever.
exactly. So there's nothing
Each generation,
stopping.
that's never going away. But the only scary thing about that whole thing is the only thing I think is a problem is licensing. That's it. Is like, how do you continue like doing licensing for like older games and stuff like that? Whether it has to do with the music, but that's a per game thing. But I don't think it's. I agree
that
with
happens
Hargeet.
all the time.
That happens all the times. But I don't.
Yeah.
I don't foresee any issues because they can emulate forever. because the next
Exactly,
thing's going to
exactly.
be the next thing's going to be that much more
Yeah,
powerful.
I'm not saying my
you know.
homebrew PC is going to have my backwards compatibility library.
Right.
It's going to be a bespoke piece of hardware that happens to just have Windows. It will just have Windows as a thing. But your UI currently, your Xbox UI is Windows 8, right? And it just runs that in a sub VM, and that's what gives you your UI. And then they have another one that runs your games, and then the base level, right? So, and then they run up another VM if you run 360 or if you run Xbox Original, right? So you see that boot up and it gives you, right, whatever the 360 logo and all that stuff. That's exactly what it would do.
Yeah.
Right. So all that stuff would just work seamlessly. That's not an issue, right? So you'd still get your old library. I don't know why people consider that licensing thing a headache. It's not.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they
Jez
had
was very adamant about that, like on Xbox 2, saying that like if it's Windows based or whatever, it'd be like a handheld PC or something. Like then it wouldn't your Xbox library wouldn't be able to move over or whatever. Like so,
yeah, it would have to be bespoke hardware. It would have to be bespoke hardware. Like they might even say, "Hey, Asus, make a Rogue Ally Xbox," right? So it'd be bespoke hardware that has, because you have to have lock chips in there, right? So it's locked to be an Xbox, right? So they would have to have that. But again, you can take some of the elements and make them general. Maybe the Xbox UI is available to anybody with Windows 12. Fair enough, right? But that doesn't mean that you get the full compatibility, right? You would have to have bespoke hardware that would do that, and that way you would have those capabilities. But the games that come out for Xbox would just be Windows games, right? For that version, for that next generation, they would just be Windows games that just run on Windows, right? So, but there would be some Xboxiness to it. In other words, it would have, this is how we DRM it, this is how we lock it down, right? So those capabilities would just come with it, right? So anyway, so like there's a lot of technology to it, fair enough, but I don't think it's that far off. I think it's very close to being able to do that. But putting that all aside, right? As far as the hardware, what we get, I think it's cool that they announced the fact that we have something coming, because that was allaying some fears. That's good, right? And then hopefully we have something cool coming. I kind of agree Keystone is a better thing than having those mid-gen refresh things that really just, I don't know. But I guess
they ain't going to do that, Hargeet.
Yeah, I think that taking the disk drive out, which I hate, by the way, I like having the disk drive, but taking the disk drive out does give you the option to make it cheaper. If they add an accessory for it, that's cool, right? But taking the disk drive out does make it cheaper. And if they can make the base level for the Series X $400 instead of $500, that's good. But it comes down to marketing. This is their year. They can make it their year to expand themselves quite a bit if they market appropriately, and have to do it globally, not just here in the US, which is another problem they have. They generally tend to do it here. It has to be everywhere. And then PC Game Pass. Good God, do they need to work on PC Game Pass and expand those numbers, right? There's a whole story with that. I don't know if you got into the Game Pass stuff, but that was one of the things that they need to do so much better.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Game Pass, but in the context of worrying about ABK being separated out from Game Pass, and just basically
thank God they said nope.
Yeah, exactly. Because I didn't like that. I was like, I made videos. I'm like, this is not happening. Because if it does, I'm not jumping ship, but I'm gonna be pissed off. Yeah. But luckily, I never thought it was gonna happen. But we heard it from some prominent people, so I was like, shit, this could be a thing, And money, when the money guys are in charge, you never.
It was
really
probably
know,
on the table, right? But eventually,
I think it was discussed. I have no doubt it was discussed, Hargeet. No doubt in my mind that was brought up. You got to crunch those numbers and say, is it worth it? Luckily, they decided no, day and date staying indefinitely, forever, always, as Sarah said during the podcast, which is great. Christian James says, if Hellblade, Avowed, Indiana Jones, etc. come out and review like I expect them to review, and Microsoft properly markets the games and Game Pass, they should be in a good position. Absolutely, yeah.
The Keeley Award should be good this year.
Yeah,
it's pretty interesting though, because like everybody thought PlayStation was dominating just because of the games for a long time, right? But it has been never more clear to me than the last 2 years that is not the case. Yeah, because if you count it, right? The end of 2022 is when God of War Ragnarok came out. Okay, so that came out in November. So ever since December of 2022, and now we know going into April of 2025, you're talking about 2.5 years. Okay, they'll have had one big major franchise first party game, in that Spider-Man 2. In a 2.5 year time span, one big major franchise game from that Sony.
Now, Mav, do you think the media will go after them about that?
No, I do not whatsoever, because they have not last year. And they're not talking about it this year.
Are you saying PlayStation has no games?
They literally told us they have no games. The guy came out and said, hey, guess what? We have no fucking games for you. I'm sorry. But it is what it is. And also, our developers don't know business. We've also said that as well.
Yeah,
But, hey,
I love that they said that.
Over here, tomorrow's an Xbox business update event. Make sure you check that out. And because you're afraid of their ecosystem, in which they have fucking 5 games coming out this year, at least
10
10 releases,
10 plus third party.
Yeah, Indiana fucking Jones and Avowed and Hellblade 2 and all this stuff, right? And then we're no talk. Hey, don't look at us, but we don't have any games.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're literally telling us verbally. And I still hear people talking about, well, maybe Xbox can get their games together. Maybe they can do something.
They have games.
They have games. Right.
They have
exactly.
A shit ton of them, man. They had more first-party releases than I think just about anybody.
Yep.
They
did.
Why does it? And they put them in Game Pass. It is the most delusional thing in the gaming community, just in general, about this whole scenario. And it is not about the games of why PlayStation is more popular.
Well, and the numbers actually show that. The numbers actually show the active users don't change. Like you get these like little spikes when a big game comes out, like a Spider-Man or God of War or Starfield, but then it goes right back to level. And it's what I said earlier in the show. This is a continuation of the Xbox One, PS4 generation, and it's the same users are upgrading. And yes, there's some new ones that come in, but they usually just follow their hardcore gamer friends, right? So whatever that split is today, it's kind of continuing amongst that. And that has more power, especially amongst the new gamers. The new gamers don't even play our list. The stuff people list war about, they don't even play those games. They're playing Fortnite and Minecraft and Madden's whatever that thing is where they spend all that money on the cards for whatever reason. Like that stuff. That's the ultimate team. Like that's the stuff those kids are like. Kids and young adults are playing these days. So, but that's a whole nother topic. I won't hijack the show. But Mav, to your point, yes, you are. The point Mav was saying, the data actually backs them up. So I just want to
it's COD marketing. It's COD
I
marketing.
Researched the shit out of this. It's all the data.
So
it's the data.
So now that Microsoft gets the COD marketing, I hope it does swing things, right? It should, right? So we'll see what that does. But you have to do the marketing, right? And we don't know what's left for the marketing department of ABK, but we do know the marketing at Xbox has sucked for the last 10 years, and we.
They're getting better, Hargeet, you hater. They had the Dome in Vegas. I mean, you can see it from space, Hargeet, for God's sakes, man.
And how many people saw that?
I don't know. I saw it on Twitter.
Here. 20? Like
Dave saw it from his house.
So bad, dude.
So
I get really disappointed when I have somebody from on an Xbox who doesn't know what Game Pass is. Like on an Xbox, and you still don't know what Game Pass is.
Someone today told me I need to make a video explaining what Game Pass is. I was like, damn, really? Like, yeah, I think a lot of parents don't even know it exists or what the hell it is because the marketing
and
is shit.
It's cool for you to do that as an enthusiast.
I should have
frankly, it's not your damn job.
Exactly.
You know whose job it is? It's Phil's job.
I know.
It's their job to do that. Aaron should be doing that. That is not your job. They should absolutely, like, if you're a gamer and don't know what Game Pass is, that's their fail. They need to do better.
Fair enough. It reminds me of the all access thing. Everyone, I had to
Which
tell.
Which is another awesome
Nobody
program.
knew about all access, and now every one of my friends got their Xbox through all access because of me. They had no effing clue it existed. So yeah, I'm with you, Hargeet.
It's so ridiculous. Like they have all these awesome things they do, but they don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Can I just throw one thing out to that? Because I do think they at this point they've never really delivered on the original promise vision of what Game Pass is, which is this big game that comes. The reason why Satya Nadella, the person that sits at the top of Microsoft who doesn't play video games, understood that they need a game every quarter is because that is how you keep that is. He used to be mentored by Reed Hastings, the guy who co-founded Netflix. He knows how the model works. That you build up these snowballs.
Content. It's content.
Yeah,
but it's a thought of what comes next too, because I've read a lot of articles about Netflix. Netflix said they don't get you by what's there today. They get you about what's there, the promise of tomorrow. So if you always know something's coming down the pipeline, then you stay. Then you stay. You know,
where I push back against a little bit against you, Hargeet, is that Netflix doesn't do a lot of traditional marketing. The thing
they don't have to anymore.
Yeah, well, the thing that's been missing from Game Pass is that thing that Nadella talked about. It is, and what you just said, RHETRI, is that having that next game always lined up. You have a big game, and then you're talking about the next thing. When you break that up, when you go, what did they go? Like they went more than a year and a half between Halo and Starfield. I mean, you had.
Let's not bring that up. That wouldn't hurt.
You lose the momentum. The snowball just melts, and you got to rebuild it, right? You got to start with a little snowball again. And so we've never seen that environment. But here's the thing: so Hellblade comes out this year. They actually potentially have a year and a half, 2 years where they can start to do that every 2 months. Have a big game in there. You push Call of Duty in there, and I want to see what happens, like just on social media alone. Because if you guys remember 2021 when Forza Horizon came out and then Halo came out, you remember that? Like you could almost feel like how that thing was just building up, and even the media was coming around. I saw like people from Forbes and stuff like that going, "Oh, this is interesting. Like what's happening here?" And you had everybody playing 20 million gamers on Forza, then it was on Halo. So let's see what happens in this world where they actually live up to that vision, and then you throw a Call of Duty into that mix and see.
Let me jump in real quick, Hargeet. Let me jump in. I'll get back to you. I just want first of all, welcome to the over almost 300 people here in the chat. Thank you all so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. We have a couple of quick super chats we're going to get to in just 1 second. But the one thing OBM said that I thought was pretty crucial, and all of us mentioned, especially MAV and Hargeet and RHETRI, respectively, but that that like it's the next big thing, the thing we're anticipating, the thing that's coming next. But wait until the next big thing is Call of Duty. Fuck, dude, that is really gonna be the telltale sign for what is coming in the future. And if they market it right, and if they have like, hey, look, let's mark down our little potato to $199 and include Game Pass for 3 months, and look what's on the cover of the box. It's Call of Duty. Merry Christmas. I'm just telling you, man.
So here's the thing, right? So you say that, OBM, however, Netflix has a model where their content is available only on Netflix. You have to subscribe. That's it. There's no other choice. I can buy Hellblade, right? And people who don't know what Game Pass is, they're not going to subscribe. They're just going to buy it, right? But if you tell them what the value is, if you tell them, hey, this is available to you, you can just do this instead, then they start to get it. So you have to actually sell it, unfortunately. You still have to do something to market it, right? And Netflix is at such a level, it's like several hundred million subscribers, that they can just do word of mouth. At that point, it doesn't matter, right? Because you just tell them, hey,
they don't have to do it anymore. They don't have to do the marketing push anymore. Right.
Well,
exactly.
And I think that's the point though of a Call of Duty and a game every couple months.
Because Call of Duty you can still buy.
Because I hear what you're saying, but value doesn't really, unfortunately, not unfortunately, but like value doesn't really capture anybody's imagination, right? Like when they say 100 games for $1 or whatever that is, or
it doesn't miss economy.
Yeah,
maybe.
I don't know if I agree with that, OBM. But go ahead.
What I'm saying is you don't capture somebody's.
I'm teasing.
You don't emotionally get them invested over.
100%. That's exactly the problem. Right. They're not doing it emotionally. It's got to be an ad where you have somebody say, "Oh man, I just had to spend $300 to get my games this fall," and the other guy's like, "I spent $17."
Bingo.
Yeah,
I agree.
So what if they had like the discless $399 Xbox Series X this holiday, right? And with it, they gave you like 3 months of Game Pass, right? But the marketing behind it was Call of Duty and Avowed and all Indiana Jones, right?
Yep.
And the commercials are like, get your $399 Xbox today and get to play the new Call of Duty and Avowed and Indiana Jones for free, right? And something like that. That I think advertising like that can spark that emotion because like, holy shit, that's cool stuff that I want,
Yeah.
right? But then you start looking into it and researching it, like, how am I getting this for free? What is the deal behind it? You know, and then you start to really sell Game Pass upon that because I feel like you have to create the conversation
gotta do
about
something
Game
like that. Yeah,
Pass.
you gotta bring
I agree.
people emotion.
100%.
Exactly.
RHETRI,
Prey
I
on their
want-
emotions.
I
Yes,
want
sir.
you to-
And
I
it's
want-
global.
if you can, I want you to clip this part out, starting with the whole beginning part about Game Pass. And
What?
we need to clip this part out and we need to put it online and we need to tag Sarah and Phil and everybody else at Microsoft.
Go for
and Game Pass and everybody and let's just let them know.
And there's
Go
no
ahead.
reason for them
Got
to
it.
not market PC Game Pass right now to all the people around the world who are on PC and
Exactly.
start bringing them in. There's just no reason
Yeah.
to stop. Like, they don't have to buy an Xbox. You just need to market it. That's it. You just need to market it. Same scenario. Oh, hey, I just had to buy XYZ games and man, it cost me this much money versus I just pay $10
Yeah.
and I get all these games.
I agree.
Haha.
100%.
Right.
Yeah, just
For
walk
me,
around
it's
and
all about the
everybody
numbers.
comes.
So I love that idea, Hargeet.
Yeah.
You spend how
100%.
much? Dumbass. Make that the ad. Make that the ad,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Actually,
Go
that's
old
not
school.
bad, man.
Yeah.
Exactly. The old school. Exactly. They
We
used
want to
to
go
be like
old
that.
school.
Yeah.
We got
Let's
the
do it. Let's
mascots.
do it.
That's why I want them to use some of the old school Sony mascots
I
and
tell
shove
ya,
it in their fucking faces. Just do it.
Exactly.
Don't be nice. Don't be
tell ya.
nice.
I
Bring
tell
it
you what,
back.
though,
Bring it back.
I gotta read that real quick on the board, then we'll get these super chats. But I just I'll tell you what right now, 100% their Xboxer Mike. I agree with you, sir.
Yes, sir. We love. That's why we put them up full screen. We're like, cook, Mav.
Oh, I was full screen. I'm sorry.
Yes, you
know,
were.
that was awesome.
I can see his face get red. Yeah,
great.
hold the line,
I
you
love
pussies.
that
All right.
rant, bro. Exactly. It's
I've got that
awesome.
on. Hold the line.
Yeah.
There you go. Exactly.
King Webb with the $2 says Windows OS on console and cloud. I think it meant we'll end it all. We'll end it all.
Yes.
There can only be one. Voidlock with the $2 says PlayStation is a casual box and Xbox sunset marketing. Dude, kind of hit on the nose there. I can't disagree with that one.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
You want to play another video clip here? Because we're kinda-
No,
kinda
I
getting
think
strong
I'm
on
beyond.
time.
No, I think we're short on time. One thing, before we get out, I just want to get everyone's opinion on this,
Cool.
and that's like game prices and what's going on. We saw what happened with Power World. Power World, $30 price point. Massive hit. We're seeing what's going on with Helldivers 2, $40 price point, massive hit. And I'm just wondering, we've seen like Sony talk about like it's just too much. The AAA budget's too much. We got to start capping those budgets. Do you guys see maybe any changes happening in the future for the industry as a whole, not just Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, maybe everybody, about maybe them kind of pulling it back a little bit and not getting away from these like quadruple A price point budgets and watching the success of something like Power World, which had, I think, a $7 million budget. I don't know what Helldivers is, but I'm sure it's not too crazy as well. Yeah. But do you guys see a world, or am I just hoping that these guys would just kind of pull it back a little bit? But do you see a world where maybe they'll start maybe not blowing their load so much and maybe bring down the pause and maybe the prices won't be so bad? Just remember, Elden Ring was $60 and sold like hotcakes. I'm just saying there's a lot of these instances that prove the $70 model maybe wasn't the best idea. You know what I mean? But
so there was an article about this, right?
Go ahead,
Didn't Sony put this out there that they're finding that the $70 price point, the revenue is up, but the volumes are down. Right, I think it was Sony who said something like that.
Hargeet, they're never gonna. Now that's never gonna happen because they're gonna take the revenue 10 times out of 10.
Well, there's a curve at which point the revenue
exactly.
will go down, right? And that's the thing, right? You hit a point where the volumes will go down enough that the revenue comes down with it.
Sure.
So, look, this is a Sony problem that I've been pointing out. Sony created this. I don't fault them, right? In the PS3 gen, they needed to do something. Right. Sure. So Xbox did a whole bunch of things in the Xbox One gen, right? So in the PS3 gen, they had to do something. So they went and created all these cinematic games. Cool. But the cinematic games, they come with a price and they kept escalating. And Shaun told us as he was being kicked the hell out that, this is just not sustainable. right? It's just not sustainable. Look, the next game is going to double the price. We can't do it. Like it at some point, it just isn't viable to make the game anymore.
Yeah.
And he's 100% right. There's just no way around it. He's 100% right. And
Right.
like it created this mindset that like, well, God of War's animation for when he went into the boat wasn't good enough. It's the same one as who cares? You seriously give a
Gameplay.
damn about that?
I'm a gameplay over graphics guy, so I'm just saying.
Right?
The
It's
gameplay
like,
over graphics.
dude,
every time.
Zelda was fun. The graphics, the greatest. I don't care. I like what. So
It's a nice to have, but it doesn't
Exactly.
sell games. It's not a necessity. Like
not to
you
the
know,
point where like you have to hire 1,000 people and fire them because you have to make the stupid like, dude, like stop. Just stop.
Yeah.
Like I would much rather have the games come out and be decent, and that's good enough. If you want like somebody like like Ninja Theory with Hellblade, right? So
right?
40 people, something like that makes that game. So it looks phenomenal, right? But it's a short game. It's not
Yeah,
a
very true.
30-hour game, right?
Thank
That's good
God.
enough.
I'm fine with that.
It's good enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I live in a world where, you know what, give me the game in a few years. I'm good. You want to have graphic showpieces? Fair enough. Just don't go spend $315 million on Spider-Man and then
Right.
have to like make
Reuse
like $1
your
billion
assets.
to make your money back. Like,
Yeah.
dude.
Very true.
And then you have to fire people and pull them from the other games. Like, dude, like, just slow down. Like, that is just not a sustainable model. Pal World was what, $7 million. Like, dude,
Yep.
that's what you want to do. Like, do those games.
And don't spend
Ben.
10 years and call something quadruple A and spend as much money as Ubisoft has on something like Skull and Bones. Okay? Like,
Oh my
just-
god.
That should have. That we
Amen.
should just.
That
let it
should have been
die.
free to play.
It should have. It should have. Yes. Yes.
It should have been free.
Should have been free to play.
It
Have
probably
some
will
damn-
be free to play in a moment.
have some damn common
Yeah.
sense. You know?
OBM's like, wait 5 minutes.
Yeah, just 5 more minutes, guys. I think
Yeah.
by the end of the show, it'll be free to play. No, but to your point, God, I have got to be the most boring, but I keep going back to numbers and statistics. People are like,
No, I like
didn't
numbers.
come
You're
here-
fine.
I didn't come here to go to class. No, but it is true. Like, in Shaun Layden said it when he left that you know every time they're selling to the same gamers, the same games, but the problem was the cost was going up, but the amount of money they can make off of them wasn't. And if you really like, we kind of mentioned it throughout the show already, but the fact that the console base isn't growing, like PC
Right.
and everything else is, but that's not. The new gamer is not really that type of gamer. The PC gamer, we've seen how some of those games really do on PC, and it's not the same as it does in console. It's made, those games are targeted for a generation of people that have kind of grown up with those games, and we were always looking to be wowed by the next thing. The problem today is it's a lot more difficult to wow people with these video games, especially when they can just type in a few things in AI and watch that do some animation.
Let the code go.
It's so hard to wow people, and you can spend double the budget and you get what feels like an incremental difference on the screen these days.
Yeah.
I do think tools are coming that are going to help these developers kind of reduce some of that cost, where they can make those types of games a 20-hour single player narrative driven thing. The problem right now is kind of building up that market, because that market's been shrinking. I think that's one of the reasons that we won't go all the way back into this, but one of the reasons I'm such a Game Pass fan is not just because of the money it saves me, but I actually think that it could be something that disrupts the market and expands maybe what people are willing to take a look at, and maybe open themselves up to new genres, and maybe bring some of that back to the new this new generation of gamers who do not pay $70 for a 30-hour experience. However, they have tons of subscriptions. So if you can get them to subscribe to Game Pass, maybe you're going to save those types of games. But yeah, they when you look at that, the base of people that are buying them is not increasing. The costs are going up, so it doesn't work anymore. And it just seems like today, in this day and age of social media, people like dynamic games. They like games that play out differently every time you're playing it, sandboxy things, stuff you're building in. And some of those games don't cost as much to make. You know, you don't have to really wow people with graphics. My son my son will watch this, like, he watches streamers or YouTubers play like some of the ugliest, jankiest.
Right.
Like,
it's because they grew up in Minecraft. It looked like shit. So like their bar is low. So good for them. Like I'm right there with them.
they're not looking for that. But yeah, so
Right.
to answer your question, I think the answer is yes. But the good news is that there is things around the corner for those of us that do like those games, which I do like them as part of my diet, right? My buffet
Absolutely.
of games. There are things coming down the road, and including some of the things I talked about before to make development easier for developers to put stuff out like that, maybe for a fraction of what it used to cost them in the past. So.
True. Yeah. Good
Go ahead,
point.
man.
Yeah, horse ball physics won't cost as much next generation as they did.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Mav, look like you had something to say. Go ahead, bud.
Yeah, no, I've been paying attention a lot to this because like this all started when the first publishers started saying, "Oh, we're going to go up to 70," and then the games media was all like, "Yeah, that's necessary."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, it's not. What are you talking about? Like,
Shut your mouth.
what, like,
Yeah.
why are we as consumers and people championing corporations to go more expensive? Because if you really look at the decision behind the pricing, it's like, how can we make the most money, right? But like, it's not necessarily always the right answer to up your price,
Right.
especially if there's not a lot of physical costs that's set in stone to go with that. Like these are mostly digital products and cheap physical made products that are sold at a very high margin as far as what the actual cost there is. The cost is in the development process and the publishing and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's going to be set. We know they already know what that is, but they don't know what the return is, right?
Right.
So the return is going to be dependent potentially on whatever they set the price at, because if you set it lower, maybe you have more people buy it. If you raise the prices, maybe you have less people buy it, right? Especially in the digital age when there is no physical actual cost to it. So that even
Right.
gives you more flexibility, right? So when everybody was championing, oh, that's necessary to raise the prices, I'm like, not necessarily. We don't even know what kind of impact it's going to have. Are they going to have less sales and stuff? And yeah, obviously you make things more expensive. It's probably not going to sell quite a bit as much. But what they're hoping is that everybody gets used to it. It's an accepted reality.
Yeah.
And then people don't mind, and they just keep it doing. And then years later they'll go up again, and then they'll go up again, because guess what? Their pockets get bigger at the expense of us just willing to pay. Right.
Yep.
Now, it's good when we have these counterbalances on these games that are less expensive doing really well, because that is things that they can see. And at the end of the day, they just want to make the most money, right?
Yep.
So if the games sell more that are priced a little bit less, I don't necessarily think that means we get worse games for those budgets. I think it's just a different pricing ideas on the models and all that kind of stuff. Because you have like them trying all different kinds of shit right now. Like you have some publishers and creators are developers are putting games at $60 that are super high end, like Alan Wake 2, right? And it was even 50 on PC. But then you have some doing $70, right, for crappier games. You know what I mean? Or then you have games going for $50. You had it like Ubisoft did Assassin's Creed Mirage, right? And they called it a smaller Assassin's Creed experience. But if you really play the game, it's a pretty damn big game compared to most games out there. Like it's really bigger than a lot of the old Assassin's Creed games.
But I think to your point, Mav, I think Prince of Persia is to the deficit of what happened when you had a smaller game and they did 50 and then they ate it. Great game. Yeah. People are calling it their game of the year. Sold like shit.
It sold like shit. That's the exact. I was
Should have gone 30
to bring that up. So like,
sorry, I stole that.
Yeah, no, you're good. And Prince of Persia like is a failure. So it's like there's a lot of testing going on with pricing from these publishers and stuff right now. And ultimately, hey, babe. Ultimately, I am curious kind of what they settle on. But what I'm thinking is more going to be so what happens is the games that are going to sell no matter fucking what, right, are going to be the $70 or potentially even more down the road, right?
For sure.
And then the ones that they're unsure about or testing the waters on or whatever are probably going to be played with a lot more on the pricing scale.
Yeah.
GTA 6. Could it be more than 70?
80? Yeah. That could be the first 80.
They're going to get whatever the hell they want for that game.
And and people will buy it. Yeah, people will definitely pay that. So,
The last thing I have to say is I just want to thank Totoki for allowing me to play PlayStation games with my Elite controller finally.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Sony going third party.
Do you think he goes beyond that?
Yeah. Eventually, a very long time from now. But PC.
How about we play that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Haruki Totoki. Love that name. It's like such
fun to say.
rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah, man, he had to.
yeah.
We could have a 5-hour show just about his comments. That was crazy.
Basically telling
Crazy.
SIE that they don't know how to manage their IP and money. That was great. I love that.
Yeah, I just imagine him walking through the offices, seeing the game developers playing ping pong and foosball. And stuff,
Exactly, man.
In the lounge playing Halo or whatever other games. They're like, aren't you guys supposed to be working right now? Like, what is it? Is this how game development works? Is this what happened to factions? What's going on?
And the other potential driver is the first-party title.
Damn
Are
it,
you serious?
internet.
Come on. There we go. Come on.
Gotta get that hamster wheel cranking
This is
faster.
like every time my wife wants to show me something on her phone. Oh, look at this. Watch.
Like,
Because in the
darn.
past, as you all know, we wanted to popularize console. And the title was something, and the first-party title main purpose was to make the hardware or the console popular, right? It is true, right? But there's a synergy to it. So if we have a strong first-party content, not only with our console, but also other platforms like computers, and the first-party can be grown with multi-platforms, and that can help operating profit to improve. So that's another one that we want to practically work on. I personally think there are opportunities out there for improvement of margin. So I would like to go aggressive on improving our margin performance.
It's all about the margins, baby.
Was that?
He's no Phil Spencer, Mav. He's no Phil Spencer, Mav.
You know what?
So,
I like him
know
better.
That's where you were going.
I like him better than Jim Ryan, though, and I trust him.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that, OBM.
I just was curious. Was that his actual speaking voice? Or was that a translator?
No, that's a translator.
Okay.
Like the lips aren't matching. What's going on here? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's
all.
He's the Amy Hood, right? So
Yes.
from the the Microsoft
He's
side.
the money guy. Yeah.
And so you I think they were talking a lot about this in ILPs. Like, well, if you ask them, their answer is put everything everywhere, right? They don't,
Always. Yeah.
they don't like this idea of console war crap. They're like, no, I don't. Now, looking at it from Microsoft perspective, they still have to try to gain market share and do all that. PlayStation has already won that.
Yeah,
so
right.
If you're Hiroki Totoki saying my console sells a lot, I don't really have to care about this. Why am I not just making money on other platforms?
Yeah, nobody.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
We don't have any fucking games for 2.5. We can
So-
sit in our hands and just do whatever the hell we want. Just put them everywhere.
I mean, like, what if they really are just talking in the background, right? That, like, Phil is talking to this guy and saying, well, we'll put some more games on your side, but you got to put some games on our
Yeah, y'all, you got to jump ship too. We're going
Right?
together. We're jumping off this bridge together.
Well, but like seriously, if it goes like 5 years, like and you take something from like 2019 or 2018 and bring it over, how big of a deal is that really? Like, what does that really do to the console on the PlayStation side? Not much, but you just get money on the other side, right? Somebody might just decide to play it on the Xbox side. So it's an interesting thought, right? Like, this is the finance guy. He does not care about console wars. He cares about making money. Right.
Well, and you know what they're saying? They're also saying the same thing Microsoft is saying, is that the exclusives stop mattering to the sales anymore. They're just moving the same people, and the people that come over aren't playing the exclusives anyways. And so to them, I would even say this probably be controversial to a lot of people in your chat, but I honestly think they could port everything and they're not going to lose their split. At least not this generation.
Probably not.
So because they are just considered the go-to at this point. The exclusives do help the brand like overall, and I think that helps the mind share in a way. Maybe long term it has some impact, but really like it doesn't. We don't see a short-term movement with it, and long-term the new people don't really care about them. So really, if they ported 100% of their games, they probably would still have an over 2-to-1 console split. And I know people don't like to hear that. But that's really probably that's where we've kind of entered, and I think that's why everybody is looking at this differently. And I won't take us back too far to the hardware, but there's one thing that we really didn't dive too much into. I think that we are very close to the entire the walls kind of melting on all the walled gardens, and whether that's this generation or the one that comes after that, where like it's just like that model itself is kind of outdated. Especially for the new generations of gamers. So
Sure.
yeah, they're all thinking about it. They're like, why not? Like, because when he talks about synergy, he's thinking about things like the zeitgeist. Like when we release Helldivers on Steam and PlayStation at the same time, we actually sell more copies even on PlayStation.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, because people are talking about the game a lot more. You lose that zeitgeist.
Right.
You don't do that. Now we can turn around and reinvest that money into the next game that maybe would have been on the fringe before, right? So it has a snowball, and it's people just the problem is that we're all conditioned to think if we don't get these exclusives or if we don't lock it in there, we don't sell enough consoles, all this is going to go away, and that's not the case anymore. But
right. Okay.
Good
point, OBM. Everyone in the chat, boo OBM right now. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, do that. For sure.
No.
I like it.
I'm joking. You're good. I'm kind of with you on that one.
It reminds me of being married to my ex-wife.
Boo this man. He said, okay, I was going to read that one, but you're good.
How about go ahead?
Yeah, he says if PlayStation ported the games, they would still have a 2-to-1 split. If Xbox ports all theirs, if not, Xbox will gain larger market share. Yeah, good point. I just think they're just trying to be Tencent, and I think they're maybe just ahead of the curve. Remember, this happens all the time with Xbox, right? Everyone follows suit. Xbox does it. We've said it. Maybe Xbox does stuff too early, and then everyone follows their lead many years later, and then everyone's doing it, and it's fine. Then it's acceptable. So I think we're on the precipice of seeing that happen right now when it comes to exclusives. So I mean, Phil said it a million times in the podcast as well. So, but you either love it or you hate it. But it seems like it's happening either way. So everyone get a PC. I'm just kidding.
Okay. I do have a little salt that we could play real quick on the way out.
We did have a member. I think we had a new member, Dave, before you do that.
Yep.
I think it was Mash, I believe. Yeah, Mash. Thank you, brother, for becoming a member. Thank you. It's a member, guys. It's only $1. It's cheap because
you get all these cool emojis,
cool
which I'm going to drop in to the chat.
Appreciate you, Mash.
Now.
Thank you, man.
And boom. Yes, there you go. See, boom. Look at all that stuff to highlight your excitement with the show. Anyway, thank you so much for everybody being here tonight. I'm going to play this clip though and see what you guys think. And
salt on the way out.
I can't believe I actually found this and I'm not going to play it, but here we go. You guys will love this.
Oh boy. Dave's favorite target.
Oh, good Lord.
He's not ruling it out. It is literally what we thought it was, dude. Where it's like they're getting they are ready. Microsoft is ready to bring more games. This is why I'm saying, man, people are setting themselves up right now so badly. Where he's straight up. What my question is? Here's my question. All right, Mike Brown, you gotta go, bro. I just can't stand to read this dumbass shit. So you're wrong again. What? This isn't about right or wrong, dipshit.
It is.
This is about literally what Phil Spencer just fucking said in this interview. I don't think we should, as an industry, ever rule out a game going to any other platform. We're focused on these 4 and learning from the experience. AKA, here's a translation, Mike. Okay, maybe you could fucking get Here's how you can maybe learn to read between the lines a little bit. Not sure how you made it this far in life, not being able to read between the lines.
Wow.
In other words, yeah, other games could come.
Oh, really? Oh, come on.
Thank you, Internet. Internet didn't fail us this
Starfield
time.
and Indiana Jones, they could come. They could.
But they're not.
Could. Yes, they could.
But they're not.
He didn't say they won't. He didn't say they're not. He said they could. We'll see.
No.
We'll see.
Not what he
we'll
said.
see. Do you understand what we'll see means? Understand? Come on. It's
Apparently
not that hard.
He doesn't understand. So anyway, that's enough of that. But still,
Oh,
he kind of melts down. And isn't that the best way is to attack your audience? Guys, we'll never attack you here. We appreciate you. Everybody has viewpoints. Everybody has opinions. It's all good. and we appreciate each and every
No,
one.
listen, as soon as the camera goes off, everybody, like, he's going to be right at me. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
There's a super chat.
Mash with the $5 says, thoughts on the Xbox ported games to PlayStation coming with digital access to the games on Xbox to build their digital library there too if they ever move.
That's so interesting, and I've heard some people mention that theory that it's play anywhere, you buy it one place, I don't know,
Like
I guess
literally everywhere.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see about that. That sounds crazy. I don't know that PlayStation would allow that.
Yeah, I don't feel that one either. That would be a crazy world, though. I like the point, Mash, but I don't see it. But
Though there is a potential that Microsoft could
never say
offer,
never.
or even PlayStation could offer a Switch. As in, hey, you have these games on this side, we'll offer it at a quarter of the price or something like that. But understand, people keep looking at digital libraries as if they're all $60 to $70. Your 10, 15-year-old game is like
Hargeet.
$5. It's like $2.
It's in the dollar bin. Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
so if you had to buy the 30 games you care about, you're going to spend like $100. It's like one game you're going to get from PlayStation. Yay. Like, seriously.
Well, RHETRI, we don't have Hargeet money either.
Yeah, I was going there, Dave. I was like, listen, Hargeet, some of us don't make the same amount you do, brother. I want to keep all my $2 games. But I hear you.
Meal later. Oh shit. Oh goodness. RHETRI, anything else you want to touch on?
Nah, man, that's all I got. That's all I got. Yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, dude, thank you so much and Hargeet, thank you for jumping on.
Thank you, buddy.
Man, what a great show! What a great panel! And my God, the chat was on fire tonight. You guys were great, and we appreciate it. We really truly do love each and every one of you, man, for joining us and spending your time with us. And if you're watching this on the replay, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. Oh, we got another super chat. I'm gonna throw that up here real quick.
All right. Hey Blinken with the $20 says, when Xbox gets every COD game in Game Pass, they need to market that heavily. Amen. Maybe an ad where a group of friends switch COD games on the fly with quick resume. I like that. That's a good idea. Old COD games are still getting sales. Absolutely. We saw what happened when they brought back those servers, man. People came in droves. I was one of them. So yeah. 100%.
There's another clip, RHETRI.
Except Quick Resume sucks ass with online games.
Touche, man. Yeah. They need a system where it just automatically just ignores it for multiplayer because it works great everywhere else. But yeah, it always messes up with Fortnite and other games with me, so it is a little bit annoying. But yeah, good point. Good. I like the ad idea. Absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna go around the horn, and we'll big huge thank you. And also, thanks again for the mat. And thank you, Caitlin, for jumping in. We do appreciate that. She is absolutely amazing. And some would say the better half of MAV, but I'm just kidding. MAV, sir, thank you so much for being here tonight, man. I love it that you're here, and we greatly appreciate your time. So, sir, tell everybody where they can find you. Tell everybody about your awesome shows and where everybody can reach out to you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. RHETRI, Dave, always putting on a great show. It's awesome to see the success that you have on your channel as well. But if you want to find me, just come over, hang out on Fun Speculation on YouTube. Got 4 shows we do: Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. You can find us live. Just check it out on Twitter. Same thing, Fun Speculation, and you'll find out before we go live. I usually make a post. So hope you all have a good one. Thanks, man.
Awesome. And somebody asked earlier, I know you answered them, is there going to be a MAV cast tonight? And you was like, no, I got to play some, get in the queue for
he's in the queue right now.
I don't know how long I'm going to have to wait, so you got to sit there in pins and needles.
Exactly. But I tell you, I do enjoy those. I'm just going to say it. So
thanks,
no worries, dude. All right. So One Bad Mother, OBM. Dude, thank you so much for being here. We love having you on and having your insight, and you don't talk too much. I'm just telling that right now. So please,
business, numbers, yeah.
So what, dude? And tell everybody where they can find you, reach out to you, and are you ready to announce your new show yet, or is that coming soon?
I'm actually working on my first video. Like part of it was some of the stuff we were talking about today regarding some of the parallels between Microsoft when they started and some of the things now. I'm hoping that I finish it before we're actually watching it in our flying cars. So
There you go.
Goals. These things take a long time, especially when you're, working and taking care of kids and all that other stuff. But I do want to just thank you guys for having me on here. If anybody wants to follow me right now, follow me on Twitter at mother_1. That's MUTHA_ONE. That's my handle. And otherwise, I'll let you know where I'm at. I do like to pop up and talk to my friends here with about stuff in the gaming industry. It's always a pleasure being on with you guys. Mav, it's awesome to be on a show with you finally, man. And hopefully we don't wait too long to do that again.
Yeah. For sure,
And
man.
and Hargeet is always, it's always great, man. I see you around everywhere. You're like, you pop up. It's only going to be a matter of time when Hargeet just pops up on next to your Xbox app. But
Love it.
but anyways, guys, love you guys. It was a great time today. Thanks for
Thank you, man. I really
You bet, man.
appreciate it. And Hargeet, you already did a show tonight, you and
I know.
Fonz, which is absolutely an awesome show, and I strongly suggest that everybody watches it. Even definitely the replay now, but they're on an hour before us, and then when they salt licking when they finish up when they finish up, sometimes Hargeet jumps on with us, and we greatly appreciate that. Hargeet, tell everybody where all you can be found. And tell everybody how they can reach out to you, not on social media, but
Discord.
in Discord.
So I have Discord and Xbox. It's Chani. So you can reach me there. And then next podcast will be Booms on Wednesday.
Nice.
Though maybe I'll jump in tomorrow. We'll see. But Wednesday at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Double Barrel Gaming. And then I'll be on for Go Live, so on Game On Daily, so youtube.com/Game On Daily on Saturday at 4 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. So check that out. And then, of course, Fonz and I host GameStop Live. That's on Sundays, right before this one, 6 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. So check that out on the Fonz Gaming channel.
Yeah, it's a great show. I strongly recommend that everybody go check it out. And even though, like I said, even if you join us later or if you watch us in the repeat, that's fine with us. Like I said, there's so many great content providers out there doing great shows and stuff. There's, if some of them overlap, that's why it's on YouTube where you can watch later. So I absolutely love it. All right. So RHETRI, buddy,
Yes, sir.
co-host with the most, please tell everybody where they can find you as I drop your YouTube link in the chat.
You guys can find me on Twitter, Game Pass _daily. Don't forget the underscore. And Game Pass Daily, as Dave just put in the chat. Got the new show coming up. We got a date. It is in pen, not pencil. It's happening for real. March 16th, we got the Aim Down Sights podcast for reals this time with Red Dead Panda and Next Gen Nero. We already got our first guest. You're not going to want to miss this. I needed someone spicy, so we called up Derek Griggity. He will be joining us on March 16th, Saturday night at 7 p.m. for our opening show, and it's going to be spicy. And it's going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to that, man. I'm going to chop it up with those guys. Great gamers. Next Gen Nero plays like 1,000 games. I don't know how. I don't even know if he works because he plays so many damn games. I don't know what's going on with him. But so it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. Hope you guys can show up to that show. You guys can find me in all those places. And thank you, chat. You guys were really awesome tonight. Thank you, Mav. Thank you, OBM. And thank you, Hargeet, for popping up. Love that, man. That's you aren't sleeping right now, but you decided to come and join our awesome conversation. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you, guys.
Exactly. Man, what a great show, great panel. Thank you all so much for being here. If you haven't yet, please hit the like button on your way out the door. It greatly helps us a lot. Or share this out would be really nice too. If you enjoyed it, it's not somebody else you think, what, they would probably like these crazy things that they talk about. But please do that for us. We would love to have it. And also a quick last thing is that NerdPropellant did an interview with him, which is on the channel now, which is really good. If you get a chance, go check that out. And also his products are available. And if you go to his website, which the link is in all of our descriptions or in the description below on this show and all of our shows going forward, you can click on it. And then if you put in Gamers Council under codes, you'll get 20% off your first order. So there you
Yeah.
go. And
He makes
got
really
some
cool stuff, dude.
And me and
If
him
you- if
actually
you're
in
a-
the podcast, we're
Yeah.
talking about some new things, and he's got some new ideas.
Nice.
cooking now.
If you're a Sea of Thieves fan, man, he's got some great products, in my opinion. I mean, I
Yeah,
might buy him, and I don't even play that shit. So, like, they're
and,
that cool.
and apparently, pretty soon he's going to have a bigger audience playing Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe. Just saying.
With the
Anyway.
slander.
Thanks for joining us here at the Gamers Council.